الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to the Hijabi Chronicles Muslim Women in Hip Hop. Thank you so much everyone for coming out. I mean, it means the world to support this movement. Just a little bit about the Hijabi Chronicles before we get started. So my name is Aliyah Sharif. I'll be your host for tonight. I also am the founder of the Hijabi Chronicles. I started this sisterhood, should I say, in order to create just that, sisterhood and unity, and also to create a lane that's been missing in hip-hop, which is a lane for Muslim women in hip-hop. So there's no secret that hip-hop was said to be, Islam was said to be the unknown religion of hip-hop. So when you see the history of hip-hop, we have the 5 percenters, we have the NOI, they've all used, they all contributed to the hip-hop, to the language with the original teachings of Islam. So for instance, you have the name Allah that was dropped countless times since the beginning of hip-hop to now. The members of the Zulu Nation, shout out to my husband in the booth, can we give him a round of applause? He will be helping us with sound, and he's also our DJ for the night. But Zulu Nation is also one of the starters of hip hop, and a lot of their members are Muslim, and they refer to Islamic teachings. I actually met African Bambaataa myself, and when he gave me a card, it said like Islam means peace or something, and I was like, oh my God, like this is who they say is one of the creators of hip hop, like the originators, and his business card says Islam. So there's definitely a long history of Islam and hip hop. So now as Muslim women in hip hop, we're definitely like, there's also a lane for us though. You know what I'm saying? Can I get a yeah? There's also a lane. So like I've said before, we're knowledgeable, we have rhymes, we have wisdom, we have soul, we have heart, and we definitely have something to say. There's a lot going on right now in this world that we live in. And music right now we use as an expression of resistance, which is our form of fighting back any type of negative stereotypes that they put on Muslim women or such and such. But yes, Hijabi Chronicles Muslim Women in Hip Hop, and you know what I think it's time for? I think it's time for us to meet the sisters who we will be featuring tonight. And all very powerful, talented sisters. So instead of me introducing each one by one, I'm going to ask each sister to step up, inshallah, introduce yourself, tell us a little bit. Who's first?
All right, Assalamu alaikum. I am Sakina Sulaiman, the youngest of Amir Sulaiman and Kamisha Fatima. And resistance for me through hip hop it's like showing that just because I wear a hijab, it's not like she has to stand by these rules and we stand by these rules. And we all love music. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. For those that don't know, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah means peace be upon you by the All-Merciful. So peace be upon all of you, love and light. I am Ahlam. I'm originally from the East Coast, Bridgeport, Connecticut, but I currently live in Oakland, California. I am really grateful and proud to be here. These lights are hella, mashallah. But so I am a writer and I do spoken word poetry. So inshallah a little later in the night y'all gonna hear a little something. Alright, bet.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Asa Lioness, Sister Asa, you all call me Sister Asa. I'm a writer and an MC, hip hop artist, and using music as a tool to inspire evolution within ourselves first and then to our community, to reach our highest spiritual potential. You know, I think that's my way of resistance, is to follow the path of our dear Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and spread love.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Amira. I am a spoken word artist from the Bay Area, and I express resistance by showing that being a Muslim woman does not make me mute, that I have a voice that can be heard, and so I channel the emotions, the feelings, and the thoughts that I have into my writing so that I can enlighten minds and enlighten hearts. And I'm looking forward to sharing my work with you later tonight, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum, I'm Hijabi Coleman, and we're going to talk about injustice. It would be wrong for me not to share my writing, but I write poetry because I love beauty, and poetry is a very beautiful form of communication.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Talia, and I am a mother of 3 beautiful children. I use music as a way to show them that you can be a powerful and strong woman and still be modest. So yes.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Wow, y'all are so beautiful, mashallah. My name is Jamina, and I am a creative storyteller. Hi, baby. That's my baby. Top boy out there, my husband. And I'm a creative storyteller, and I speak resistance to bring life and voice, like writing myself and my ancestors into existence. And also it's a way for me to be able to control the Islamic narrative. So just like for having me.
Assalamualaikum, I'm Suhaila Suleiman, and hip-hop and resistance means that I can break down barriers of like stereotypes.
Assalamu alaikum, I'm Asiya Suleiman, and I like to use poetry and art and hip-hop to set the record straight for the Islamic culture.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Zareen. I'm an educator, a writer, and a filmmaker, and I'm hoping to promote my documentary to come called Halal Stitches, and start an organization called Miriam Redesign, meeting Muslim artists redesigning your understanding of Islam. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum everyone. I am the founder of an ethical brand, Purple Impression, and our form of resistance is to fight against fast fashion and promote hand embroidery and give a voice to women in Pakistan through employment and fair wage.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm glad you're right about these lights. My name is Amila Elamine, and I am a writer. And when it comes to resistance, most of what I write is to help me process what's going on inside of me and resisting my lower self. So that is why I write.
I'm Yasmin Mayan Binti Bobo, and I'm a published hip-hop journalist, and I think like a lot of folks here, I've practiced resistance and expressed resistance through my published work and through my personal writing also. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm Kamisha Fatima. I express resistance, got a long relationship with this. I express resistance by stepping into that uncomfortable, and figuring out how to get comfortable with the uncomfortable and try to teach and help others to remember, not teach, but help us to remember, remind myself and remind others.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Narmeen, and I express resistance through hip-hop through the medium of graffiti art. And I believe that visual art allows us to interrupt the aesthetic. I think as Muslim women and women of color, we are often exoticized and people like to paint pictures of us, but it's really important that we paint those pictures too.
So mashallah, give it up for our lighter. Mashallah, also we gotta make sure, or want to make sure, we shout out the Mission Cultural Center. This is a legendary spot and we are so honored to present with the Mission Cultural Center. Shout out Adrina, she has been helping us organize this event. We love you, thank you so much for all your hard work. Give it up for Adrina. All right, so again, one more round of applause. We're going to get this show started. All our Muslim sisters, we'll be back for more. So again, we're going to get started. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, ladies. So again, this is what Hijabi Chronicles is bringing together, is sisterhood. And despite the trials and the journeys that we experience, that I've experienced personally, just trying to get this together, it's always worth it, just seeing all these sisters together and uniting. So, mashallah.
For you to put on this production.
Thank you.
And let's reach out to and she got this mic working. What's up? Okay, but I'm gonna just turn it on. It's off. So the next person can have it. Okay, so I must humbly admit, preparing for this evening was really hard for me for different reasons. To say I had writer's block would be an understatement. I had more like writer's brick wall. Seriously. First of all, it was like I didn't want to come before you and not leave you with something applicable, you know, something that you could apply when you left here. But also, I need to just read this. Most of all, when I'm done, I really want my angels to record, Allah, she delivered your message. But the problem was I didn't know what the message was. Really, I couldn't figure out what the message was supposed to be. In addition to the fact that I needed the message to be in line with tonight's theme, which is resistance. So I finally finished this about 30 minutes ago. So I'm gonna do it OG style. Literally about 30 minutes before I got here, I finished this. And back in the day, they called it poetry readings. So that's what I'm gonna do. We're about to have a poetry reading. All right. Bismillah. Into the ear of every listener, which includes me, I'm going to use this opportunity to speak very frankly. Let me start with this. I do not deem myself an artist, but to benefit you, I'm really going to strive my artist. When it comes to this crowd, I have only one desire, which is to inspire one and all to guard against the fire. My words, though spoken, are not to gain snaps or points. They're simply intended to lubricate our spiritual joints. Therefore, I promise not to waste our precious time together ranting about my political views, nor will I spend what could be my last breath addressing the foolishness in mainstream news. Yet, that leads me to this. Whether or not our mind's eye does or does not exist, it's the calls from our lower selves we should be striving to resist. We must resist worshiping anything other than the one who created us, making resisting the idea that God has any partners, sons, or daughters a must. We must resist the call to sleep by responding to the call to prayer. We must resist discontentment, knowing we can't have more than our share. We must resist meat in between our teeth. Excuse me. We must resist having the meat of each other in between our teeth. We must resist falling into despair by tightly clinging to our belief. We must resist holding on to things that we temporarily possess, realizing things only increase in their value when given to those who have less. We must resist using forms of interest for our material gain. We must resist becoming intoxicated with anger simply by remaining sane. We must resist having intimate relations with anyone other than our mate. We must resist getting high on substances we know displeases the most great. Sisters, we must resist pursuing marriage through polygyny's back door, knowing if it was her shoes we were wearing, we'd want her to respect us more. I must resist the thought that I'm excluded from this poetic equation. Yes, even as I stand before you now, I'm seeking refuge from my ego's persuasion. Brothers, you must resist forsaking your children in the name of your baby mama. Even if it means taking her tail to court, don't let your children suffer due to grown folks' drama. We must resist posting our personal business on social media for our whole world to see. Just as we must not boast about our sins veiled by our Creator's divine mercy. We must resist watching things that plant subtle seeds of moral corruption, knowing our actions are a direct reflection of our own mental consumption. We must resist our favorite artists when what they spew incline us towards sin. Yes, the most important resistance is the one that starts from within. We must resist being the weakest of faith when injustice looks us straight in the eye. But we must be just as diligent in our preparation for the moment that our earthly body will die. It is our examples more than our words that will teach resistance to our ripening youth. Thus, within ourselves, we must resist that which is wrong and always stand upon the truth. To worship and praise is the only reason we exist, even though we encounter resistance at every turn. But still, we must resist taking the path of least resistance, knowing that that meat is greasy and the fire does burn. So in closing, I leave you with this. Whether or not our mind eye does or does not exist, it's the call from our lower selves we should all be striving to resist. Thank you. In closing, I'd like to thank you for your time and your attention. And please know that anything that benefits you came from our Creator. And anything that didn't feel so good, that rubbed you the wrong way, came directly from me. And I ask that you forgive me. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So you will not be harassed, molested, or disrespected. Modesty is as natural as a beautiful landscape and a gift from Allah. The Reflections of a Muslim woman reader of 92 years of African American descent. immersed in the Muslim community centered around the Bay Area at a time of Islamophobia and heightened racial oppression against people of color. Meet these dynamic Muslims who have taken ownership of their veil, or hijab in Arabic, which represents modest Islamic dress as they sew truth into garments. We represent the new veil. Just as none are recognized as honored representatives of God, these Muslims are creating clothing that serve as armor and protection, not dictated by culture, but by God consciousness. Throughout history, media has been used to control our perceptions through images. In the 1800s, not only did European women dress with modesty, so did the descendants of the enslaved, which were not shown in the media. A sense of dignity was gained from this modest dress, and it lent a hand in establishing African American women's humanity. For Muslims, the veil symbolizes piety and spiritual obedience to Allah, the one God. In the Quran, we are told by our Creator through our Prophet ﷺ, to make sure our garments cover our bodies so that we will be known as women to be respected and not abused. Both men and women are told to lower their gaze when dealing with the opposite gender who are not related to them. Women are further instructed on how to cover their physical adornments. This instruction is not intended as a form of oppression, but as a means of obtaining dignity. Miriam is combating the wave in the Western world to ban the Islamic veil. What would it mean to not be able to wear your hijab? Muslims are a reflection of Mary. Don't be afraid of us. Get to know us. Our natural self leans towards modesty. Modesty is not just a part of religion. It is a display of honor, dignity, and respect. Look at the royalty of the world. Queens dress modestly, and they are granted respect and honor in society. Every woman can have this same sense of self-empowerment and glory, not because she is royal, but by nature, as women, we are to be honored.
Yes, halal stitches. Hold on, who does that pick in halal? Okay. So halal stitches, please see Zareen, talk to the sister. Any more questions that you have? Again, we are raising funds for this trailer. I mean, wouldn't y'all want to see this in theater? I sure would. We have a lot of Muslim directors, but a lot of them are men. And we need our female perspective. So on her website, she does have PayPal for donations, inshallah. Please feel free to spread the love. We need the support. So I watched this documentary and I'm always like, man, wouldn't that be really dope if we had halal clothing? Like, for real halal clothing, not just something that says halal clothing. I'm talking about something that's not in sweatshops, not in factories, is cared for, we know our workers. Wouldn't that kind of be dope if we had that? Oh, you know what? Purple Impressions, actually. Drugshan, please come to the stage.
Please just give us aid or work. And I started questioning this. It's like every year, same thing over and over again. Why can't these women sustain themselves?
And most of them are, you know, their husbands are either abusive, drug addicts, they're single mothers. They just have a lot going on. So my sister and I decided to pool our savings, whatever we had from our work before, and start Purple Impression. It was a philanthropic movement just to bring the art of hand embroidery into modern fashion and promote that, and that's what we're doing right now. So we're paying these women fairly for their work, and we're working with them to educate their kids and making sure of their well-being. A big part of Purple Impression is transparency. We tell you exactly who's making your clothes, the whole supply chain. We've put in about 2 years of work to make sure that our supply chain was very clean. Like, we are trying to find certified fair trade factories to work with. But what I want you to leave with is really to think about the conditions in which our clothes are made. We don't even, it's just, go and watch True Cost movie. I can't explain everything, but that really opens your eyes. And we give away our clothes to charity, bags and bags and bags. One of the things that Purple Impression is trying to do is for you guys to build a connection with your clothes. So, you know, we show you who's making your clothes. So there's Asma, who made this scarf, who hand embroidered it. It's 3 days of work. You can actually see her working on our website. It doesn't become that easy to toss this away, you know, because you've built a connection. You've seen the hands behind it. You've seen what kind of impact it's had on that person. So be mindful. You know, consumerism is hard. It's everywhere around us, but we can stand up and say, I'm okay with that one top. That's all I need. That's what I wear every day anyways. I don't need 10 articles of clothing. And they all go to landfills, by the way, in developing countries. Just because we can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. You know, it's literally, they're non-biodegradable. That means 3 generations down the line, you can still see the sweater you put in charity. So please be mindful of what you wear, where your clothes are coming from. There is a cost behind it. We don't think about it. Fashion industry does not want us to think about it, but it's there. It's there. Thanks.
Thank you, Drugshawn. Give it up for Drugshawn. So again, I mean, it's very powerful. It's easy to just go to the store and buy something, you know, but when you really, really think about like, who made this? Some of the conditions are really ill and it's not cool. So before I start the introduction for the next performer, I see you, girl. I see you, girl. I want to tell you real quick, we got pop-up shops in the back. Give it up for the pop-up shops. Much love, support. So I want to show you some things real quick from our pop-up shops. We have Narmeen's portrait here. Super dope. This is for sale. It's in the back. We also have Jibril, who hand paints all this as well. Super dope. He's got a whole bunch of stuff in the back, pins, portraits, all kind of things. And last but not least, hold on one second.
Soak in the bath, ran by the justice, ran by the system. Those who soak in the bath are the black people in America. We are soaking in this bath, withering away from the pain, the strife, the trauma, waiting for the towel to come in and coat us and dry us from this struggle. Sandra Bland was a queen who wore the crown of knowledge and sat on the throne of truth, and she reminded us that our actions should be represented by our knowledge and that our words should leave our lips gracefully yet powerfully. Sandra Bland acted, and she knew, and she spoke gracefully yet powerfully, and she shall always be remembered. So this next piece is called I'm Black. I think being a black woman is already, I already kind of resist a lot of things. I resist negative stereotypes that society perpetuates among black people. And so I wrote this piece in honor of my blackness. I'm black with black consciousness. I'm black with black issues. I'm black to the point where I grieve so hard I need tissues. I'm black with black struggles. I'm black with a black family that's missing out on their uncles because they locked up in the pen because they succumbed to the pressure that society fed them. I'm black with black thoughts. I'm black with black pride that creates the powerful energy that coats my stride. I'm black with black tears that fall to my feet, creating murky puddles of defeat. I'm black with black sense, I'm black with black power, and this is our time, this is our hour to rise above the injustice that makes us die a little inside, to rise above the oppression that tears us apart inside, because our brothers and sisters out here dying, mothers out here crying, asking why, who gives them the right to take our lives and tell us we deserve it and we need to get over it. I'm black and I don't deserve it. I'm black and I'm not getting over it. I'm black and I'm not gonna be mute. I'm black and I refuse to allow myself to be controlled by the white supremacist system. I'm black and I won't let ignorance be one of my symptoms. I'm black and I'm Muslim. So that means even if I was to erase my blackness, I'd still experience discrimination. That means even if I was to erase my blackness, I'd still be a target for hate. And it goes both ways. Even if I was to take off my hijab, I could still get shot down by the police. Even if I was to take off my hijab, I could be told that wearing my natural, God-given hair at the workplace is unprofessional. Well, you know what's unprofessional? White people making their racism so presentable. Well, I'm black unapologetically. I'm black and I'm proud. I'm black and I will speak up and I will be loud because it's my duty as a black Muslima to fight against oppression so one day the oppressed people reach ascension. So this piece is a piece I wrote because I've seen a lot of comments towards black people again about our struggle that kind of try to divert and dismiss our pain, and I wanted to write this in honor of that. Don't cry, they say. Wipe those tears away. You ain't tied to chains. I mean, use your brain. You can sit anywhere on the bus today. You got it good now, so don't complain. Racism has vanished and skin color don't exist. No more sporting afros and raising your fist. You people love complaining and stay being pissed, always adding another piss poor problem to the list. Maybe if you stop being stuck in the past, you'd excel, acting like it ain't your fault that you end up in a jail cell. All lives matter and you just care about yourself. Whites have it hard too, so don't put our struggles at the back of the shelf. Oh, I'm no racist, I just don't think blacks do for self. I mean, no one forced y'all to fail. And if you hate America so much, why don't you pack up and leave? Because you're fed up with us, but we're fed up with this so-called grief. And we won't accept any of your one-sided beliefs. And really, what's up with all this F the police? I know you people don't have jobs, but they do. And they won't sit back and ignore. I mean, really, how innocent are these black lives you stand up for? Maybe, if you stop being thugs, run-ins with the police will go a lot smoother. But at the end of the day, we're all equal, so quit branding us as the abuser. And this is the garbage they force-feed us, telling us we put up an unnecessary fuss, trying to divert and dismiss our pain when the historical struggles we went through came with some gain, but injustice today, it still looks the same. They tell us we just want to point fingers looking for someone to blame, trying to swipe our race card with the credit claim. They trying to swipe our race card with the credit claim. What's wrong with uplifting ourselves, wanting the best for our people like education and wealth? I mean, we seem as inferior, so why not bring ourselves up? Alright, y'all want us to stay asleep and stay stuck. Yeah, all lives matter, so why get hostile when we mention the black ones? Because police see us as targets they can aim at with their guns. And no one's looking for a pity party, but sadly, it seems to me empathy's a bit tardy. And I'm saying this wholeheartedly, acknowledge your white privilege and start thinking logically. I think you need a black history lesson, because your ignorance proves you need some educational sessions. And not one from the textbooks, one that starts way back in Africa before it was snatched up by white crooks. No longer will we be at the bottom. We steady rising up. It's time for our status to be remodeled and recognize how much black people are marginalized. And to my surprise, we still get idolized while black lives continuously get brutalized. But oh, you wait and don't you misrecognize the day when we really become unified and demand that our revolution will always be televised.
Give it up for Amila! Takbir! So we're going to get set up for our panel discussion. So let me tell you a little bit about our panel discussion. We're going to open up the mic to you all. So definitely just let us get set up for a little bit. We'll play some music, check out pop-up shops. Who got to use the bathroom? I know you got to use the bathroom. I know somebody got to use the bathroom. Okay, we'll be right back. And make sure you remember we got some more dope hip-hop acts. I'm also performing, mashallah. So please stick around, get up and come right back. Don't just go. You gotta come right back. But I didn't give you a whole break. the next for your hot girlfriend. Hello, how you doing? Yep. How's everybody doing tonight? Everybody doing good? Okay. Because we are slightly behind. We're going to be doing a panel discussion. And I'm the host of that too, yes. And we're doing a panel discussion with our Muslim sisters in hip hop. We're going to open up the floor, Q&A, to our beautiful audience. Yes, you guys, just go ahead. I'm so glad you came back. You left and I was like, what did I do? You're back. And it means so much. I feel like I just got a teddy bear at 3 years old. Thank you so much. It feels that good. It feels that good. So we're going to be doing a panel discussion. We're going to be opening up for some Q&A. So I'll be coming, giving you the mic, ask some questions. Please keep them appropriate, of course. This is all dealing with Muslim women in hip-hop, our struggles, what we bring, our sound, some of the things we go through, some of the different walks of life we have, different journeys as Muslim women in hip-hop. So quickly, we're going to do a panel discussion, and we will introduce our panel. So first, actually I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves. MashaAllah, there's nothing like your own self-introduction. You know you better than you. Poesia.
So I go by Poesia creatively, and I was born in Cihuatanejo, place of woman in the state of Guerrero, Mexico, which is named after Mexico's first black president. So I come from the zone of Mexico where there's like all this Afro-Indigenous people. So that's pretty much my childhood. I grew up in the Northwest, and I was involved in like the hip-hop community in Seattle, and I recently relocated to the Bay, and then I'm about to go back to Mexico.
So again, my name is Jamina Shannon, and I'm actually a Berkeley native, but was raised in Tacoma on the Hill. I lived in Seattle, between Tacoma and Seattle for quite a bit. Just recently, 6 months ago, going to Portland. So kind of all over the map, up and down the coast. And I'm actually, that's exciting that you're from Seattle. MashaAllah. So, I'm a founder of Hijabi, which, I think ask more about what that is. And I'm also a creative storyteller and a homemaker, so that's me. So blessed to be here.
This sister came all the way from Seattle to perform. Give it up, give it up.
My name is Asa Lainez, and you also call me Sister Asa. And I'm a founder of Global Oneness Arts and Culture, and to advocate for healing, for self-healing and community healing through the arts. And I was born in Manila, Philippines, and became Muslim in 2010, alhamdulillah. Realizing that our original people there were also Muslims, they were more, so alhamdulillah.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ahlam al-Jalil. All these sisters are like, I'm the founder of, I'm just trying to find more reasons to love. That's all I'm trying to do. I've been writing for a very long time. I grew up and I had no friends, mashallah, in like elementary school. You know, man, I had nobody to talk to. So I've been writing since then. I've been performing since I was about 15 or 16. And so it's been about 10 years now, and I'm here, and I'm just grateful. Alhamdulillah, just grateful.
I think I have a bad mic. My name is Yasmin. I'm a published hip-hop journalist. Most of my work is in print. I've written for Words, Beats, and Life Global Journal of Hip-Hop Culture, which is also a hip-hop nonprofit in DC. But I'm from the Bay, and I'm happy to be here, and thank you for being here.
My name is Talia. Again, I'm a mother of 3. I put so much emphasis on that because that is my full-time job. I homeschool. I'm right there after we're done with school. Okay, what you wanna eat? You know. And I'm a wife, and I've been married for 3 years. Sorry about this mic. So yes, that's what. That's my job. And then for me, I do music. I'm an MC, hip hop.
Yes, yes. So shortly after this, I will be coming around asking questions again. We gotta keep it quick, but this is our way of connecting with the people. You know, we're interested to hear what you have to say. Side note, real quick. Salam, sis. You right there. Wajma. Hey, yes, I remember this sister 2 Jumas ago, right before the show. I don't even know this message, new message, and everything. She took the whole stack of flyers. Like, you need help? Went to everybody individually. Come, please come. So, like, mashallah, thank you, sis. Okay, so let's start our panel discussion. So our last event was covered by Al Jazeera. We had Huffington Post coverage. There was a YouTube video that they made, and a lot of the comments were great and positive and beautiful, and mashallah. But there were some comments there that were like, yo, what are you doing? You're a Muslim woman in hijab on a stage. You are just the most haram thing and forbidden thing I've ever seen. How you gonna do this? You're making Islam look so. With my question, I first asked this question to you, beautiful, powerful, strong, motivating ladies. What is it like being a Muslima on stage? What is that? What are the disadvantages and advantages of being a Muslim woman in hip hop culture? Performing-wise, just appearing on stage with a hijab, or appearing on stage as a powerful woman. Somebody can go first. Awesome.
For myself, being a Muslim woman on stage, alhamdulillah, I like being a Muslim woman on stage. And I feel like hip-hop is a vehicle anyway that we use to speak whatever we want to say, whatever's in our hearts, and no one can tell us not to say it. That's the beautiful thing about hip-hop and poetry, that, you know, it's like, you can't tell us not to say that, and that is a distinctive thing about hip-hop with other genres of music, you know. And I think being a Muslima on stage personally, I feel like, this is just personally, I love to dance. And I feel like I'm too old back, you know, when I get all turned up and stuff. But I feel it's also an advantage because, you know, although I represent myself, but I also represent Islam because of the hijab that I wear. And, you know, inshallah, if I represent right, then I will, you know, feel good about what I'm doing. Inshallah.
So, being a Muslim performer, I realized that before I never, because to be honest, I came to California 2 years ago, and I've never, like the first time I ever performed in a predominantly Muslim crowd was here in the Bay. And in the beginning it was really difficult. I didn't know what to wear. I was like, how do I censor what I say? Like, what poems are appropriate, what's not? I don't want like aunties and uncles walking out the room, you know what I mean? Like, and yeah, I didn't want to do it, you know? Because I felt, well, the first time, I felt like when I left a piece of myself off the stage. Like, very essential parts of me. Because I felt like I had to fit into this cookie cutter mold of what a Muslim is supposed to be, look, dress like, talk like, act like. And so what I would say is a disadvantage is people constantly projecting that onto you. It wasn't until months after the video came out that Aliyah is referring to, and you guys can watch it on YouTube as well, and where I read the comment, and it like made me weep, because we were getting so much love from Muslims, but mainly we had support from the non-Muslim community. And most of the Muslim comments that were on the page, whether it was Facebook or YouTube, were straight up, like there was one comment that straight up said, these women are not Muslim, like they're kuffar. Like that's coming, so for those who don't know, kuffar means like disbeliever, you know? And that hurt me a lot, because it makes you question yourself, it makes you question your actions, and it makes you not want to step onto the stage, and it makes you not want to step onto the microphone and, you know, speak before the people. But what is beautiful about it is the fact that we have the opportunity to rewrite those narratives, and we have the opportunity to really represent that, yo, being a Muslim doesn't look like one thing. Being Muslim doesn't mean that like you're an Arab woman in like a black jalaba. Like that's not the only image of what a Muslim woman is. So it's beautiful to have this opportunity to be here to rewrite that.
Everybody else want to touch on that real quick?
I just want to add on to what the sisters are saying. So we know that Islam is basically just a submission to Allah. And for me, I feel like that's what I've been doing with my art, with my music. You know, just submitting to the Creator's will. And that means that this is the vehicle that I'm doing it. You know, we are the modern day storytellers. So that's the advantage. We cover Allah. We have that protection when we go out there and tell our stories.
So I first, before I became Muslim, was involved in the hip hop through graffiti. So mostly I dealt with a lot of just misconceptions of women in graffiti and in hip hop, and then as I slowly started rapping, was similar, and now being a Muslim, that's like an additional layer of like, go to shows, do what I have to do, like perform, rap, and then afterwards I'm just like, okay, I want to go sleep, and people are like, do you want to go do this and that? And I'm like, no, this is like my gift, and I can only like, you know, I have my own like boundaries within myself, even how I engage, because I'm Muslim and I'm coming from a different perspective in how I do hip hop, or in general as a human being. And I think sometimes like, so I come from a nation that's predominantly Catholic. I'm the only Muslim in my family. And my family they don't practice Catholicism, they're mostly practice Purupecha indigenous worldview, which is very similar in my like reflections of Islam. So when I made that transition, it wasn't like something drastic for my family. Like my mom knew I was going to become Muslim like a year before I took Shahada. She's like, oh, you're going to be Muslim. I'm like, why? She's like, all your closest friends are all Muslim. And I was like, oh yeah, that's actually true. And so then like my mom kept like pushing me, and then similar, so when I took Shahada, and then I was like, okay, then like it was clear to my family that like I was gonna remain who I was even within hip hop. Like I'm wearing a hijab, it's like underneath my hat, but I love wearing caps, which is like hella hip hop and stuff. So like I'm still myself, and so my mom's like, you're like you, but like you're hella Muslim now. Yeah, that's the point. Like because my understanding is like Islam is a way of life, and similar hip hop is a way of life. So I think it's like when people manipulate hip hop through like this corporate capitalist worldview, it's like when people get like, you know, the version of hip hop that you'll see like on TV that's actually inaccurate, similar to how people get these messed up versions of like Islam on TV and stuff. To the point where my family, like there's this whole thing where like ISIS in Mexico. We all know that's like media propaganda, okay? Like that does not make sense. So my family, they're like, are you okay? Because they're trying to make us and Muslims terrorists. I'm like, they've been trying to do that forever. But now it's like, but seeing those similarities, I think for me being Muslim and like being where I come from, it's like very important to retain who I am as a Muslim in a nation that is going to take a long time for people to acknowledge the contribution of Muslim and black folks even within Mexico. So it's like we have a long way of decolonial struggle within even like confined within those borders.
True, true, true.
You know, for me personally, my journey and path, you know, in hip hop as a Muslim woman, you know, and also as a black woman, really like hip hop has always been, you know, a part of my existence, you know, a part of my upbringing and culture. And for me, because of a lot of the criticism and stereotyping around Muslim women, you know, being part of hip hop, you know, it kind of put me in this place where over time I had to kind of figure out how to reinvent myself to be a part of, you know, this environment where I can still contribute as a creative storyteller, you know, because in Islam, like women have always been in the narrative as creative storytellers in a lot of different ways, and so I had to find a way to make sure that not only could I continue the path, you know, in that narrative for Muslim women, but also to, you know, bring my own culture, you know, with me and wear it on my sleeve, you know, whatever that looks like. And to be a voice, you know, because I think that as Muslim women, like we have to, there's a lot of propaganda that's being, you know, putting us in these boxes around who we are, what we look like, and all those things. So we have to find ways to control that narrative, you know, even as an ummah, you know, like as a collective Muslim nation. We have to find ways, creative ways to control the narrative and speak to our people, you know. So I feel like hip hop is one of those things that it has touched every part of the globe, you know. So why not continue that legacy, right? Like it's a part of our legacy to have that a part of, you know, Islamic culture and as a way to continue storytelling and sharing our voices.
Right. Give it up, give it up. And also, it's really important, speaking of hip-hop and dealing with this question before we move on, hip-hop, there are 4 elements. Some definitely know there's 5 elements. I see my husband looking at me like there is 5, okay? And the 5th one is knowledge, you know, and it's very important that people know their history, people know their knowledge. Like this narrative that we all know about and talk about, you know, what they try to perceive Muslim women as, this is due to just a not understanding of what the religion is really about, and even Muslims ourselves really not knowing the history that Islam has in it as far as women and the roles of leaders and that are women in Islam. For instance, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he was at battle before, and when all of his friends ran away, there was a woman who sat there defending him. Sorry, I had to. She had a sword or something like that. So, you know what I mean? She was defending him, and then she got knocked unconscious, and the first thing she said when she woke up was, "Is the Prophet okay? Did I do my job?" You know what I mean? So Islam in the history is just so, the women's rights are immaculate. Like, for instance, the Prophet, one more thing, said, men have rights over you, but you got rights over them as well. So our next question, I'm just saying. Our next question, Muslim support versus non-Muslim support in this world of Muslim women in hip hop or poetry or art or whatever we're using to express ourselves. And Yasmin, can I start with you, please?
You can. I want to echo something that Ahlam said about the audience. So I'm not answering this question from a place of being a performer or a practitioner, but being someone who's worked with performers and practitioners and tried to get publicity for them. Okay. And so my experience, through their experience, has been that the Muslim audience has the most growing to do and the most cultural sensitivity to practice. And it's the secular audience or the non-Muslim audience that has like a problem. That's usually most accepting and most has an open door policy. And even in working with artists, I've never had static or problems with not the non-Muslim hip-hop community, but it's been kind of an internal struggle with Muslims. So that's just an area of growth for us. I think we have a lot of growing to do. And we really need to see it through the lens of like cultural sensitivity, because we are a big community racially and culturally, so if we could just broaden that lens to accept and embrace the hip-hop subculture as well, that needs to be a priority.
There's a lot that needs to be said. There's so many conversations that need to be had. I went on a retreat not too long ago. It was called the Tajdeed retreat, which means like the renewal. And there was a brother, his name was Imam Jihad, and he's from SoCal, and he spoke, and he did like a khutbah on a lecture on racism and colorism in Islam and in the Muslim communities. And I'm 25 years old, and it was the first time I've ever heard a religious leader like speak like sincerely but directly, and not like I'm gonna like use it as an example or talk. No, the entire lecture was on racism and classism, colorism, forgive me, in the Muslim community, and I wept in the audience because that's something that we don't talk about. And so we want to talk about if we're having support from the Muslim communities, not really, but because the truth of the matter is hip-hop, when people think of hip-hop, they think of black and brown faces. And there's a war on black and brown bodies all over the world. And there's racism in our community. So it's like, to say you support hip-hop is really saying that you support black and brown bodies, but some people don't really, but won't say it out loud. So there's like an underlying issue that needs to be talked about, and people get very uncomfortable because they have to deal with like demons and like history that's like rooted in us that we've inherited that we don't even know about. So yeah, there's not that much support because there's a lot of healing that needs to be done.
Well said, well said.
I think I also want to add to that and just say that, you know, by not having the Muslim community support, it's creating like this whole community of folks that are literally being pushed out in a way. And I think that it also creates this really extreme, you know, you've got this pendulum, and it creates this really extreme sides. Instead of being able to kind of find the middle and realizing that hip hop is a part of a culture, there's a reason that, you know, we all have different aspects of our culture. We need to find that balance on how we use them as tools, you know what I mean, to educate and continue in our own individual and collective processes around knowledge and like empowerment and moving forward. And so I see like this space, alhamdulillah, as a way to use a huge piece of our history, you know, in our culture, as a way to like bring people in and create healing therapeutic spaces for all ages. You know, I look out in this audience and I'm seeing people, you know, all different age groups and, you know, backgrounds and things like that. And I think that that is like the beauty and the power in taking like a piece of culture, you know, and like going across the board on all these different topics that sisters are, you know, spitting about, all these different ways. And I feel like if we can't use culture in those ways, then what, you know, what for, right? Like to be able to use it in the best way that's moving us forward as a ummah, you know what I mean? So I see that as power.
Yes. And one thing that's really important that I want to highlight real quick, because it's one of my points on my panel discussion, is the culture versus race versus religion. You know what I mean? Because hip-hop, like you said, it's associated with black, it's associated with brown. And a lot of the times, like for instance, the comments that we received, thank you guys so much, live stream, on YouTube, I'm just saying, the comments we received were really interesting, and I feel as if a lot of that is stemmed from someone looking at, well, if you're Muslim and your music doesn't really sound Arab, it's haram. Regardless, even if it's Arab hip-hop, and I'm not even trying to clown, I'm just telling the truth. If it's Arab hip-hop, or if it's Arab something, like, it's cool, but if it's like going to the culture of yourself or the roots of who you are and expressing yourself through resistance with these rhymes, using hip-hop as that mean, then it's still haram. And that doesn't make sense. It's totally a double standard going on within our Muslim community that, you know, I don't know if I'm sure you all will agree, that we need to have an open dialogue about this. I've actually seen, on a side note, there was a band, it's not hip-hop, it was rock, but it was a band of 3 Muslima artists, and if you guys can find them, please send them to me because I've been looking for them all over. So pretty much they got into some trouble, I believe it was London, because they were Muslims performing rock music. And despite what the music was called, I mean, some of the big heads in their city were like, this is done. So these girls, I can't find them nowhere. I'm looking up individual names, I can't find them nowhere. So inshallah, if you can find them. And that makes me ask, how many times have we been like shut up or shut down just trying to bring a certain message? Because it's not all about, hip-hop isn't just like money and cars, and like that's not what we're up here talking about, as you can see thus far. But we're still being called haram and forbidden for what we're doing, which is just a complete contradiction to Islam itself. Moving on. Let's get that up. So, last one before we open it up to the audience for a couple questions, because we really don't have a lot of time. We're in an age of Islamophobia. Who knows what that is? All of us, right? So Islamophobia, ladies, how do we deal with Islamophobia in resisting, like our theme says for tonight, the resistance, the expression of resistance. How do we resist this Islamophobia, these stereotypes, these misconceptions that the media brings about Muslims, period, Muslim women, Muslim men? How do we use our rhyme, our talent, our art to resist in this day and age and to fight Islamophobia through our lyrics?
I think the way that I got into it was through journalism, because I didn't like what I saw in the media. I didn't like the depictions of Muslim women, so I wanted to not necessarily put my own voice out there, but just put a voice, a different voice on the scene. And it just so happens that I got into a field of journalism that was mainly focused on hip-hop and hip-hop culture. So my way of doing that was through journalism. And in a way, that is a form of storytelling. Even if I wasn't telling my own story, I was working on telling someone else's story. And I think just being that I picked a time where social media and viral media was like bursting at the seams, that facilitated the message, and we were able to share that information and get it out there quicker. And so that's been my vehicle, is just journalism and social media. And I think social media plays the most important role in getting your message out there, whatever that is.
Well said, definitely.
So I think for me, it's really important in regard, I guess like my perspective is very much from this continent, if that makes sense, even though like I'm also a product of like slavery and genocide of Mexico, or of the survival and resistance of generations. So one of the things is like for me very important to bridge understanding with quote-unquote Latinos. I struggle with the term Latino, quote-unquote Hispanic, because those are all terms that were imposed through colonialism and European colonialism, so I don't identify as such. My mom's Purupecha, my dad is Afro-Indigenous, Zapotec, of African descent within Mexico, so that's who I am racially. And so that, for people who don't have an analysis about race in Latin America, to be lumped with a bunch of white people, I like take it as an insult. I'm just like, you call me Latina? Like, are you serious? Like, that's what did you call me? But that's just like the history of like where I come from. Like we're very direct who we are as a people, because like it's 40-year military occupation on dark-skinned people within Mexico that never gets in the news in the U.S. Most people don't even know there's black people in Mexico. So these relations in terms of Islamophobia is really, really important, because one of the persons that started the first maroon city or town within Mexico in Veracruz, Shanga, he was a Muslim. So this is like very important to know within the decolonial history of Mexico, that it was a Muslim Manteca man that came to Mexico and liberated all these Africans and natives, and then they went into the jungle, they organized and then liberated more Africans and natives, and then they built their own town to the point where the Spanish government was all like, we don't want to fight you all can have this piece of land. And then you see the effects throughout the Americas of this and stuff. So like in similar Islamophobia, like it's very important for me to go back to historical documents and talk to my family that the Catholic Church was imposed on the people of Latin America. That's not, and like the way Catholicism works within Latin America is actually impressive and keeps us in these conditions of impoverished. I'm not bashing on anybody's faith if people are Catholic or have families that are Catholic, but for me, it was very important to pinpoint what was oppressing me as a child when I would go and never could relate to all these saints and images. And so when I talk to my mom about how I don't feel connected to the Creator or Allah when I go to a Catholic church, she gets it, because we spent like literally 20 years of my life. I'm 29, so like 20 years of my life me being like, don't take me there, I'm gonna yell. Don't take me there, I'm gonna like pretend nobody's there and I won't talk to anybody. So like as a child, that was very difficult for my mom to understand my process, but through that process is why I embraced Islam, and she now understands like why it's so important for me to talk about Islam and how it's important that we acknowledge that there's a large Islam is growing huge in Latin America. It's like one of the most I don't like to equate it as religion in terms of Catholicism or Christianity, because I get like these internal feelings of like my ancestors being put in concentration camps and being forced to like learn Spanish. So I don't really associate within that part of the history, but like I think like in terms of Islamophobia, we have to deconstruct the myths that you have to be either from like Arab or you have to be African to be Muslim. And that's a lot of the perceptions when I talk to people in Latin America. They're like, no, we're Catholic. And I'm like, no, that's actually imposed. Like we have to think beyond that and critically. And so in this time of Islamophobia, the war on drugs and the war on terror are basically the same thing. Like black and brown people are getting murdered so capitalist investments can go and extract resources. That's actually the battle that we're fighting, and it's all spiritual.
Everything that we go through in this physical plane is a spiritual warfare. Spiritual warfare, and which means that, going back in history, this is not the first time that we are going through this. And if we look at our dear Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and the way he embodied this forgiveness and this love, and was able to transform his enemies into his friends and his supporters and his allies. I know that the Prophet is like a perfect person, but Islamophobia is a fear of Islam. It's because people don't know what Islam is, and to use hip-hop as a path to, or using it to educate and educate people about what Islam is, and also the way we conduct ourselves as Muslims, that we cannot fight hate with hate. We cannot, I mean, I'm not saying to just be stagnant and not do anything, but knowledge of self, if we know ourselves really deeply, and as people, and as a spiritual people, not just, I think that we're able to manifest the light of our dear Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. I personally, I always look back to how our dear Prophet conducted himself, and I think that I think that's the answer. Allahu Alam.
Alright, so on that note, any sisters want to touch on anyone? Anybody else?
Stop apologizing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sorry for everybody. Okay, so we're only gonna take two. Yes, I said you're right. We're gonna take 2 questions. Brother Hashim. Let me get this light.
Man, a lot of work you guys all for women of resistance. I would say Prophet Muhammad's granddaughter, Zainab, the daughter of Ali and Fatima, was a woman who not only stood up like you women, but spoke against resistance to oppress her time. And I think that just remembering her at this moment, every time you're doing something like this, reminded me of Muslim women standing up that a lot of people don't know have a history of resistance. And the history, you guys are part of a legacy. And so my question is, who do you see as influenced you in the legacy of hip-hop?
Good question.
Is this a Muslim or just anyone?
Anyone.
I mean, for me, it was definitely Lauryn Hill.
Come on! But everybody knows Lauren is Muslim though.
On the low.
Yeah, but this miseducation came to me at a time where, you know, I was a very young woman and going through a lot, and I identified with everything she said and shared. You would play it, not on repeat, just play it. So Lauryn Hill, man, I mean, we don't have enough time to go over every reason why she influenced me, but I would definitely say Lauryn. And not just, you know, creatively and musically, but just everything. You know, coming of age and understanding myself and understanding who I am as a woman and who I want to be as a woman. She was critical in that development.
Lauren, 100%. Not just the miseducation. How many people in here have heard the MTV Unplugged, like Lauryn Hill MTV Unplugged? Not enough hands. That's homework. Straight, that's homework. Like, I want everybody to go home. It's free, it's online, they got it on YouTube, you can see the whole thing. But like, you gotta be quiet. And you have to like make intention to like open your heart and listen to what this woman is saying. It's the reason why they call her crazy. It's the reason why we don't hear about her anymore. But if you listen to her, and if you listen to the words that this woman is speaking, I'm telling you, like, you're gonna find things in your heart that you didn't even know were there. And it constantly avails itself, I still listen to it to this day. Like, I've written the entire thing, like, it's just listen to it.
So really quick, because we're running short of time, can all your listeners just, who hasn't spoken, just say your influence, just answer the question, the influences, we gotta move on.
I mean, yeah, I think it's probably across the board, Lauryn Hill. I also want to say Mos Def, for sure. They both really speak a lot of spiritual, Yasin Bey, they speak a lot of spiritual pieces to Islam. And so for me, it was like, wow, you know, there's people who are talking about Islam and hip-hop, whether they're Muslim or not, you know, I was like, that's a platform. You know, the fact that I can take away those pieces where they're talking about my faith, you know, and use that as a way to be like, yo, like, I could do this as a Muslim, you know what I mean? There's power in that.
Okay, next question.
I just want to say, I think, a cool project to work on probably would be the many faces of Islam, you know, because I think Indonesia is the largest Muslim country. You know, so you got a heavy, you got an Asian influence on Islam, as well as Middle Eastern, and as well as African. And then I also think in America, the Muslim story, you know, it kind of deals with the African American story as well. You know, which is real interesting. In regards to hip hop, I think hip hop is a lot of reasons why a lot of people became Muslim. But people like Rakim, you know, so there's a lot of history there, you know, Queen Latifah, you know, with some of the names, you know, but I had to make that point, but there's a lot of history there, you know, and then there's even saying that some of the presidents read the Quran, hey, you know, the Masons and stuff, All right, but my question is, who are some famous Muslim women that have inspired you?
Thank you, brother.
Lauren.
You know, it's interesting because I just did an interview on KPFA before the show, promoting the show, and the interviewer with Hard Knock Radio, Anita J, she was saying, you know, it's really interesting. I did all this research to prep for your interview and couldn't find like one mainstream Muslima artist like out there in the mainstream. So I'm just put that out there quickly if anybody wants to jump on that.
One of the, so this will show my age, but O-Town 357. Hey. One of the members is now Muslim. Yeah, she's very much living a quiet life and in the shadows, but she's Muslim. And it wasn't that her work, you know, Islam came through her work or whatever, but in her personal beliefs, that's what she is. So there are some mainstream women who have either embraced Islam or who were always Muslim. Or who were raised by Muslims. Eve, I think it's her father or her stepfather is Muslim. MC Light is married to a Muslim, that's why you'll hear like references to Islam in some of her lyrics. So it's there. DMX's wife was raised Muslim. So it's there. There's connection. So I think for me it wasn't like one single person, but it's the connection that I saw, this kind of map that I was looking at. In my mind, like connecting the dots of where Islam is and how it's reached people, and how it's reached people creatively, or through creative avenues.
True. Anybody else want to touch that? Luther?
Poetic pilgrimage? Like, I feel like I couldn't be a rapper in general who wasn't women in like hip hop, and like definitely their style and just like how they like, it's just poetic pilgrimage.
Anybody else want to touch on that?
I just lastly have to say Aisha radiallahu anha, because I think that in the Muslim community she was certainly mainstream, and she was one of the best poets and teachers to the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his companions, you know, and so I feel like that's a piece around like knowing our history. You know, like there's so many like skills that she had that are elements of creative storytelling. So,
I just want to say really quickly, my like female influences right now who have definitely been like inspiring me personally is always really featured in the lineup. That's not really something to just say. Like I truly mean that. In planning this, like really getting to know each person's music and poetry, just developed a new love for being a Muslim woman in hip hop myself. And man, we have some show, we have the rest of the show that's coming up. Some of these artists on the piano, Ahlam, Asa, Jamina, Shijaman, and Talia, and myself. So we'll definitely be showing you that more hip hop element. So one more question and we have to move on. And I see Layla. And you know what, I seen you too, so I'm gonna get you, hold up. Layla, who was at our last Hijabi Chronicles and actually participated in our charity fashion show auction. What did you do?
So my question, it might be a little bit redundant, but it's around sort of what is your relationship to, let's say, like male dominance or male supremacy in hip hop? Of course. And also male supremacy within the way Islam is practiced in Muslim communities. So like, what is your relationship to that, or what are the ways you attempt to like resist or subvert that? So both hip hop and in the way Islam is practiced.
Thank you. Quickly, please, Edsa.
For me, as an artist, I feel like my relationship with like male dominancy is I just come up front with what my boundaries are. I'm very clear about like this is what I'll do, this is what I won't do. Someone's asking me to be on a track or sing a hook or whatever. I just let them know like these are my area of comfort and this is what I will and won't do. And I just demand that respect. And I feel like it's important to do that because especially as a black woman, you know, hip hop, I feel like everyone wants to be black until it's time to be black, you know? So I feel like it's important for me to be really clear about what I'm showing up to do and my purpose, you know, because I know that there are people seeing me. I know my daughter is watching. I know that, you know, the youth are seeing, inspiring, all these things. So it's important for me to make sure that I'm like centered and coming correct. And that's dawah in itself. You know what I mean? Like giving people an understanding of what that might look like for a Muslim artist. You know, and I think that is creating a new like platform for us to new doors. Opportunities are opening up by letting people know like this is what we're about. We still do this, and it looks like this. You know.
Yes. Anyone else want to touch on
I would say, so we were saying one of the elements of hip-hop is knowledge. I'm still searching and seeking knowledge as well. Like, what is patriarchy? What is misogyny? What is feminism, right? So it's like understanding that we need to stop using masculinity as the bar. It's not the measuring stick of what it means to be a woman, you know? And understanding what it means to be a woman and actualizing that, I think.
Asa?
I think being a woman in hip-hop is an advantage.
Yes.
I think it's just, you know, when a sister comes up, it's, you know, it's good to surprise people. You know, and yeah, and I think it's just a beautiful thing, and times are changing, and they're just gonna have to accept it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Okay, and our last question, thank you ladies for the heartfelt and really dope answers. We have, what's your name?
Emerald.
Hey Emerald, how are you? Nice to see you. Go ahead.
Hi, I was just, where do you think women who are part of the LGBTQ community belong, or in hip-hop or in Islam? Because I know they're in various practices of faith, we're told that we don't belong and that we can't be your sisters. What do you think?
Is your heart beating right now?
Dun, 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 dun.
Your heart is beating, so you belong here. That's it. It's as simple as, it's important to understand that it's easy for us to try to place ourselves in boxes, and that's what we're talking about, is like, being a woman, what does that mean? Being a Muslim, what does that look like? Like, we're not putting each other in boxes. Like, your heart is here, so you belong here. You belong wherever your heart tells you to be.
Yeah. And I must say, we definitely love and appreciate all of our sisters. Sisterhood doesn't just stop at one face or one type or one kind. You know, in all honesty, and this is no secret, in many religions, Islam does not support the gay movement as far as, you know, woman and woman, man and man. We do believe in the Quran, it does say that Allah created you out of mates, and with that we make babies and we procreate. But Islam is never for any hate of any type of clique, race, religion, gay, straight. That's not what we do. We are people who hurt people because of what they are, or what they say that they are, or what they portray, or what they fight for. That's not what Islam is about, just to put that out there. If anybody else wants to touch on that.
It's a very sensitive topic. You know, I personally, I have an aunt who is lesbian, and I've known her since I was little. And you know, when I look at her, I see her as a human being. You know, I see her as a person just like myself, who have nafs, who have their own struggles, and it's not up to me to judge. It's not. You know, it's just not up to me. You know, if we see people for who they are, like I hear this really powerful statement: don't hate the hater, hate the hate. Because people could be, people were just vehicles, you know? And it's like, you know, that is the real enemy. Hate is the real enemy. So, I mean, from my experience, I don't judge people for who they are, because that is not our place as people. We just strive to be a human family, whoever we are, because, you know, we have to depend on each other. You know, when someone is in need, we're not gonna check their ID, whether they're, you know, what religion are they, or what, you know, if they're straight or gay. If that person needs help, that person needs help. So, you know, and we want the same with us, you know. We want the same when we are in need. We are not going to judge whether this person who is helping us is straight, gay, you know, Christian, Catholic, you know. So it's like, it's just ridiculous.
If everybody knows the answer to this question, please say it at the same time. The ultimate judge is Allah. Allah. I didn't hear you. The ultimate judge is Allah. So in Arabic we say Allah. In English you say God. In other languages, come on, anybody tell me what's Yahweh, Jah. Essence. You know what I mean? That's the ultimate judge. What we go through as people in everyday life, again, it's not about hating each other, judging each other. Allah is the ultimate judge at the end of the day, and we can come in this world and live the test, which is called life, and we can pass it, which we all hope to pass, so let's not talk about felon. Okay, so we're gonna move on. I would love to keep this Q&A going. This is actually like my favorite part of the panel. Actually, one more question. Okay, one more. We got one last question. One last question. Anybody? One last question. I'm trying to get some Muslims, trying to get some women. But I'm gonna go over to you. We ain't hating. All right, one last question. Where we at?
Assalamu alaikum. So my question is about, you know, the culture of hip hop, you know, at least on the male side, is so much about like flex and flash and the opposite of modesty. You know, everybody on stage is wrapped up, and that's a really big part of our culture as Muslims is modesty on both sides. So I just wonder how you guys are walking that line between what seems to me anyway as a man, the modesty on one side and the kind of flash on the other side.
Okay.
So again, I'm not a performer, but I can say that being backstage with performers or having access to them or in conversation with them, I've had nothing but respect from male artists and male performing artists because I didn't choose to dress modestly. So I guess that when a Muslim woman carries herself a certain way, she commands a certain respect, and I've found in my experience that male performing artists respond well to that and show nothing but love and respect. And I think because Islam is so familiar to the hip-hop generation, that they're open to it in ways that the general society is not. So Muslim women we don't catch as much heat in the black community or in the hip-hop community as we do in the larger community. That's just been my experience though.
I think what's important to say is that whether a woman is dressing modestly or not modestly, she should get respect. Whether a Muslim woman is in hijab or a Muslim woman is not in hijab, she should be respected as such. And I think that, what hip-hop represents, how hip-hop has represented women, and what is our responsibility as a Muslim woman. I think it's important to let people remember that we are all holy. And that goes beyond what we put on our skin. That we look at each other like we're the beloveds of God, and that's it. You know what I mean? So for me, it's like, I see women who, it hurts my heart when I look at, like, seriously. I was at home today and we were watching like some like hip hop videos on television, and there's always like those like scenes where like dude is like rapping and all of a sudden there's like a woman. It's like, who decided was like, all right, we're gonna insert naked woman here? Like, I don't understand it, and it hurts my heart that there are women who feel like, yo, this is where I'm worthy, this is where I'm valued. Because if that's her struggle, Allahu Akbar, God is great in whatever capacity, but women need to be respected because women are women. Like, that's just it.
I'd like to echo what she said in terms of like, regardless what we wear, we're still a being that should be respected, period. I dress the same as before I was Muslim, and now like what's only different is I wear a hijab. So when I show up to shows, it's like more apparent to people in terms of like where I'm coming from in terms of things, from a spiritual lens. Like And this is what I came to do. I came to rap, and then end of the show, it's done, you know, like. And with a lot of men I interact in the hip hop scene, they're like, "You're all business." I'm like, "Yeah, I am all business." That means the rest of my life is literally not up for discussion. And that actually works out to my benefit because most men find me intimidating just by the way I dress and carry myself. Even before I was Muslim, and now that I'm Muslim, it's like, whoa, she's really serious about what she does. And I'm like, yep, I'm a human being at the end of it all, you know, whether or not. Like, I consider myself, I guess, in terms of modesty, I consider myself modest in the way that I dress and carry myself. And it's more so a reflection of how I was taught to value myself as a woman, literally carrying a womb amongst a society that doesn't value women. And that's just like how I was raised. I was raised by my mom, so if you got raised by my mom, you're pretty much set to go to war. So my mom was like, any man hits you, punch him back. And so that's just the philosophy I carry. Disrespect me, bro, I will give it to you 20 times. And I just did a show where this guy was talking on my set, and I started rapping him out, and he left the stage and left the building. So I am one of those people that will do that. And that's just for love for all the sisters on the mic, and the fact that regardless, we should be respected, period, for being on this planet and Allah creating us as we are.
Yes. Thank you all. Give it up for the panelists. So Darlene, let's check out what Darlene's got going on. Wow. Whoa. Wow. All this. No. So we are going to start with our first hip-hop Muslima. Well, it's not our first, but it's our first after our panel. Talia is in the building. So, or AKA Miss Incredible, get it right. This sister is so dope. Again, mother of 3, always on the grind. When I'm performing at the protest or I'm at the protest, raise your fist. You better believe Talia is there, kids in hand, and her husband Fly Benzo. So they keep it family, they keep it Sunnah, they keep it moving. So Talia, we're gonna have Talia up there.
How y'all doing? How y'all feeling? Yeah. Are y'all ready? I'm gonna perform a few tracks off my latest project. It's called Birth of a New Breed. Everything I do, I try to embody my experience in. Right now, it's being a full-time mother, so that's what this reflects. Can we get that non-state instrumental? Yeah. Hey, let me introduce you. Let me introduce you. Let me introduce you. Hey. Let me introduce you, let me introduce you. They say don't fight the pain, embrace it. It's birth for something new, so the labor in the pain sometimes you gotta go through. It's a fresh start, such a brand new heartbeat. The stars keep making way, pave the way, got knowledge, and I lady great. Contract, relax, contracting and relaxing, that's the ebbing flow of life. Sometimes contractions back to back, stay strong, eyes on the prize, just hold on. All this confident, no pain, this shit will last you too long. They say, take a deep breath, inhale all the sweetness, exhale all the weakness, then you gotta repeat this, far from meekness. They said you gotta get your feet wet, cause the spirit has been giving us the greatest teachings. No, I'm not preaching, but I learned I'm sharing game, and every time you gain some wisdom, I suggest you do the same. Each one, teach one. Oh yes, that gotta be the name, so my seeds, bro, never mind the fame. Hey, new breed, yeah, let me introduce you, let me introduce you, let me introduce you. Hey, let me introduce you, let me introduce you, let me introduce you. Hey, to a birth of a new breed. Yeah, this is the birth of a new breed. Hey, this is the birth of a new breed. Hey, this is the birth of a new breed. Hey, and like I always say, I said, you don't have to be a mother to birth. We all are created, whether it's with our thoughts, our intentions, our actions, our prayers. We are birthing a new breed. So that next one, on and on, or no and no. No and no. Hey, yo, I keep is like my ancestors speaking to me, giving me the strength to go forward. The hate I broke hand, many this history. I break in on this frequency, but never be in bliss when competing this type of consciousness. All of the obnoxious and all the foolery will never get us nowhere, just pulling me apart. But please believe in me, baby, I got the heart. Grandma sister's in the hand, and that's where do we start? We build step by step, starting with level respect. Time to correct the madness that the masses come to offend. We can't let this mess just spiral out of control. Clean it up, must be our goal. It can take another toll, what we told, but it can take another toll from my center of my soul. I'm what was diamond from home. And so, the first thing I'm supposed to start with myself. Be change over the seed, building up spiritual wealth. To the best step I can for what future. So you like, it's all I'm saying, meet the children, the truth in the room. The proof will be in action. Anything less, the best is false satisfaction. I feel we got to learn, you got me up. Vaccine, please believe that all me gon' take the system action. Keep pushing. You know, sometimes you might trip, you might fall, but you always gotta keep pushing no matter what, you know? Keep pushing. Hey, 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 yo, I keep pushing on and on and on and on and on it. But they was going to work my path, placing me in a no land, a strong hand. Other ancestors gracefully guide me. They tell me go within and pull the strength that lives inside me, is inside me. And only know at times I both get worse. But the first gon' finish last, and the last is gon' be first. So I pick up pen and pad and shit like troubles in this verse. With the nervous I push on them out, I gotta verse this curse. This is partly my religion. Remember who I am, remember what I'm supposed to be, and know for something I'ma stand. Fitting in my human rights to love the last learning in. And then the best is what I hear, Hey, oh no, 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 I keep pushing, yo, hey. There was a young girl that was so destined to be everything that she could be, like she was in the army, had dark brown skin, it was hella melanin, had her soul so deep, yeah, it was with hella in, she had plans to make a difference, and she knew that she could. Well, of inspiration, so she knew that she would change the game of sharing love and pain. We all the same, so she knew that through the stroke, that she had to pour that heavenly rain. Pour that rain on up, hey, keep pushing. So the next one I got, I think that is, what's on there? Yeah, you can do that. I think it's like two more, right? Talk slow and... So rude. Okay, so rude, yep. This one is called Fly or Die. Again, the ancestors speaking to me, the creator speaking to me, and telling me to reach my fullest potential or I will reach my demise. It's one or the other, there's no in between. Fly or die. Hey, hey, fly or die. Hey, it's fly or die. Hey, it's fly or die. Hey, ain't no in between. I either flap my wings off the shore, spiral down and go I. Insane, crazy, plain that I was in pain. My life will be in vain, which is a lose, no soul for the world to gain. I'm flying high from this illusion. None of it's brilliant, it's been proven to Satan. Get thee behind me, yes, from the bakery. I will hide this day by day solutions. But I'm trying to win. The lose in the last clarity in the midst of my confusion. Hey, it's fly or die. Hey, hey, fly or die. Hey, fly or die. Like I said, there's no in between. Reach your highest potential or you will reach your demise. And that was my instructions from the creator. Yep. Okay, I think it's like hey. Yep. Right here, this is a love song, but it's not your ordinary love song because I wrote it to myself. Sometimes we have to give ourselves that love, we neglect ourselves, and we give it outward to everywhere else but to ourselves. So this was my attempt to make amends for that. Hey, hey. Okay. This is dedicated to you. You know who you are. You know that one, that special one you didn't fully appreciate. If I could tell you one thing, hey, I would tell you this. I never meant to hurt you. I never meant to hurt you. I never meant to hurt you. I never
never meant to hurt you. I never meant to hurt you. Hey, yo, I swear I never meant to hurt you. Tell me, can we try to make this work, boo? I know it's times I made you feel you wasn't worth to put in others first before you, and I know you ain't deserve it. You are imperfectly perfect, with more than just the surface. Beauty so deep, but still I treated you ugly and cheap. But nights I couldn't sleep, knowing in my heart I pushed you away, you acted foolishly to you, and there was nothing more to say, but please just tell me that you'll stay. And maybe we can rebuild me, cause I swear that really never meant to hurt you. Know this is true to make it up. What can I do? Ready to go above beyond and show my love is through the roof. I never treat you this way again, cause let my action be the proof. Whatever you need, I do infinity. Added by two, I say it over and over again. I never meant to hurt you. Hey, let me hear you. I never meant to hurt you. I never meant to hurt you. I never meant to hurt you, baby. Never meant to hurt you. You know we gotta apologize for ourselves. Look in your eyes and say I apologize. You know, hey. Instead of joy giver was joy breaker to you. Sorry when I couldn't be respect to you. I was trying to check you, cause I was trying to correct you. Only thing I never did was ever try to break my neck too. And show you what's happening. I was something kind of crap, we was supposed to give you love. I put another above, I feel so dumb, feeling so numb. The pain in your heart, I take it off from that low step you carried it far too long. My God, you're so strong, you've been so patient with me. Again, I want to let you know with all of me, I swear that really never meant to hurt you. And that is why I'm talking straight to you. I'm not just speaking for my health. It's time to have this talk with self and lessons, gotta learn and grow. Gotta shine my inner glow, love me like the creator, yo. Blooming like a rose, slow but never gradual. Blooming slow but never gradual. I never meant to hurt you. Hey. I never meant to hurt you. Hey. Thank you all. That was my
Okay, so next, Ahlam, love. So let me just tell you something real quick about Ahlam. When I think about love, I'm just like Ahlam. Okay, this girl got so many analogies and euphemisms and all that for love, but most importantly, she shows it. So, Ahlam, please, the beautiful, the brilliant, the striving, hit it, girl.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Y'all still with me? I know we're coming to the end of this. Okay, so assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To those who do not know, assalamu alaikum means peace be upon you. Thank you. Just gonna hold it, huh? It's too big for the message. I think I'm just gonna hold it and be a gangster. Alright, so the beautiful part about Arabic is that it's a glorious language. It never has only one meaning. Salam in Arabic means peace, but it also means safety, which is really beautiful. Because really what we're all saying is, it's a prayer, you know? May peace be upon you. May safety be yours. May you be surrounded by protection. So I pray that everyone in here is taking that as a prayer and that your hearts are saying Ameen or Amen or Ashe. You know, a lot of people in here came here with somebody, whether it's your husband or your wife or your boyfriend or your girlfriend or you're dating and you don't really know where you're at. Thank you so much. God be known. Your sister, your brother, your mother, your cousin, and there's a certain level of safety because there's a certain level of understanding of knowledge. But I'm sure I can bet that someone in here is sitting next to someone they don't know, or sitting across from someone they don't know, or sitting behind someone they don't know. And when we don't know someone, there's a veil, there's a guard up. And I'm sure we've heard Assalamu alaikum countless times. And the God that I know answers those prayers. So there is safety in here. there's protection in here. And because of that, I want everyone to just open their hearts right now. I want everybody to just be present and let it all go, right? But with that, and with that understanding, and with that knowing, and with that presence, I'm gonna need your energy. Because I know we're getting to the end of the night, and everybody else got your hooting and hollering, and I don't want like, you know? So, when I say salam, salam, I need y'all to say peace, peace. Can y'all say that with me? Salam, salam. Peace, peace. Come on, y'all can do louder than that. Salam, salam. Peace, peace. That. So, I grew up in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And even though I was Muslim, my best friends were Christian. And when you go to the black churches, there's this thing called call and respond. And so when you hear something that's good, you know, people used to say amen. People say amen? Amen. Okay, or you could say I. You say word. Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Or, you know, if you don't want to say any of those things, you can just stick to like the snatching. If there's something that you hear that feels good to you, I want to know that you're here with me, okay? So, my name is Ahlam Hassan Idris Abdul Jalil bin Muhammad bin Abdul Jalil bin Muhammad bin Umar bin Abdullah bin Salman al-Bahashwan al-Hadrami. Yes. Yeah. And I am an East African, I am Arab, I am a black Muslim woman in America in 2015, right? And so there's a lot that comes with that. When I posted the Hijabi Chronicles online, asking people to come, someone asked why? And what's the point of this movement, of this sisterhood, of this show, of this gathering? And so I started writing something, and while the show was going on, I went upstairs and I wrote this, so it's a free write. So if y'all are cool with I can't curse, huh? New-ish. So if y'all cool with that, say new-ish. New-ish. So, this is an answer to why. Because everything that is happening in the world is a proof of how important this is. Because I want Muslim women to be afraid of nothing other than our Lord. Because this show is me standing in solidarity with every woman that is afraid today to wear their scarf for fear of being attacked by those who lack knowledge of the truth. Because we ain't going anywhere. Because God is our witness. Because we love. Because we live with heartbeats that pump blood to the rest of our body as everyone's do. Because Muslim just means one who submits to God. Because we all serve a master. Because we choose the one true creator of the heavens and the earth. Because we are sick of apologizing for things we have not done. Because we are tired of pleading with people who will not listen. Because we are patient knowing that all of this has been written. Because we know that all of this is prophecy. Because we are instructed to love despite the horrors in the world. Because we are instructed to love in spite of the wicked of the world. Because we are instructed to love with might as a mercy to the world. Because we'd be foolish not to. Because mama ain't raised no fool. Because mama ain't raised no punk. Because mama be the force that lights up this soul. Because ain't no such thing as halfway crooks. And when I say crook, I mean those who get crunk. And when I say crunk, I'm using that as a reference to hip hop. And when I say hip hop, that be the blood, that be my blood. When I say hip hop, that means what boils my blood. When I say blood, that be what formulates this body. And this body ain't got time for traitors or cowards, and anyone who's afraid of anything other than God. Because Mama Africa lives inside of me. Because Father Panic ain't got no place here, you see. Because this is for all of those who desire paradise. Because this is for all of those souls who long for love. Because this is for all of those who yearn for peace. Because this is for all of those who search for strength when times get hard. Because this is for all of those who search for truth or seek guidance or follow the advice of the learned. Because this is for all of those who are begging for safety in this broken, beaten, brutalized world. Because this is for all of those who still see this world as beautiful, who still give thanks for its bountiful, who send praises for all the babies, who offer prayers for all the babies. Because there have been too many massacres. Because there have been too many murders in our names. Because every time I'm at the airport, I'm forced to be responsible for my last name. Because Abdul Jalil means slave of the majestic. Abdul Jalil means soldier of the majestic. Because the only war I'm fighting is the one against myself. Rather, the one against darkness. Rather, the one against hatred. Rather, the one against cruelty. Rather, the one that causes children to wash up on shorelines. The one that carves outlines on the earth. The one that closes off borders to refugees. The one that occupies a people's homeland. The one that turns a village to a vacancy. Turns a house into eviction. Turns a person to a victim. Turns a street into a killing field. Singing into screaming. Dancing into dying. Beauty into what's left of a dropped bomb or an airstrike or a burnt church. The only ISIS I know is the goddess of ancient Egypt. The news has got it all wrong. Has got us all wrong. They think Islam represents evil. They must not know our prophet. And these killers don't know our prophet. Blowing up buildings to make room for more graves. Wiping the blood stains off the broken concrete to turn it into tombstone. It's a shame. It's a hoax. Who's to blame? Only those responsible for the damage done, yo. But this is why we're here. Because we know that there is more than this. Because we know that there is truth to this. Because we know that there is more to life than surrendering to anything other than love. So we love. And we let love. And when they hate us, we still love. And when they throw shade, we still love. And when they throw stones, we still love. And when they slam and smash and bang and drag our names through the mud, drag our people through the streets, our babies into graves, we still love. Why? Because we don't have time. Because we don't have time here. Because we don't have time, so let the music play, and let the melodies flow, and let our hearts fill with La ilaha illallah. There is no God but God. There is nothing here but God. I swear all I see here is God. And it is so damn wonderful, and it is so damn magical, and it is so, so damn beautiful. I'm going to be right back. Salam, salam. Salam, salam. MashaAllah, alhamdulillah. God is good, yo. God is good all the time. I was gonna do another piece, but I have this thing in my heart where I just feel and I share, and so there's this piece, I think I'm gonna name it Blues for the Horn. And the horn is Somalia, the Horn of Africa. But this poem is dedicated to all of the people of the diaspora, of all of the displaced. And so there's 3 sections of the poem. The first poem is a song called Somalia by Kenan that I'll be singing. The second is my piece. And then the third, it's a Somali song written by a very close brother of mine. His name is Faisal. And it means the calamities that are imprisoning you will come to pass. And so this is in honor of my mother and my ancestors, and to all of those here with hearts. Somalia, I cried today. I saw you falling face down and then dragged away. And when I told the world, none would bat an eye. They say since you know how to kill, you should learn to die. You should learn to die. You should learn to die. And I've been watching you dying for some time now. I've been watching and crying for a while now. Somalia, the pit of my stomach knows your voice all too well. I've swallowed your screaming, your needing. You've been calling my name and I've drowned you into my limbs, into the darkness where mercy cannot find you, into the depths where madness is blinding, where man can cover even his deepest fears. You've been dying and no one wants to admit it. Our hands have been up and off of you since our fathers have left their mother's land. Somalia, you are motherland. A land that my feet have yet to offer homage. I've never felt your sand between my toes, your grass beneath me. My body is a praise dance waiting to witness your wonderful. I've never seen your ravishing streams or rich meadows, but I know you're more than what they make you seem. I know the sun kisses you every morning and caresses the skin of your people, my people. You live inside of me. We never really left you. Hoya's heart is a de facto homeland that holds you. She doesn't walk without you. She keeps you close despite you, despite your pitiful, despite your miserable, despite the memories that are really just eulogies of all she used to love. All she used to love is gone now. It's shattered, it's screaming, it's holding on to the bits of life she has left. Somalia, people have closed their eyes to your hurting, to your hollow, to your haunting ways, your taunting. You're getting under the skin of people with your pain, with your puncturing. Your suffering would force people to surrender and help you, but they're busy with matters that don't concern you, with matters that consume fools, to turn their backs on jewels. How cruel. The world looks at you like ruined earth, like wasteland, like a nightmare, like a reminder of everything empty. Think you are nothing but savage, but pirates, but gunmen. Somalia, they think you have it but gunmen. but you are beautiful. You are magical. You are miracle. You are praiseworthy for all the praises your people have sung. The angels are manifested floodgates of mercy. By Allah, I know He hears your call. Your du'as have ascended. He just loves you. Ya Allah, He loves you so much that He is pleased with your pleading. And the angels are beaming with your begging. They beckon for more so they can send glad tidings upon your souls. And you may not understand this. While your country stretches its skin searching for water for your sons and daughters, you may not want to hear this. While you are hunting for rain to moisture your dry lips. It's too bad your weeping cannot fill you. Cannot fertilize your crops, cannot be the drops you need. But we hear you, and we are here for you, Somalia. We sing to you. The melodies of your children are making its way to your dirt dance floor, to your sand castle shores. Your daughter is here, standing and singing for you. The calamities that have imprisoned you will come to pass. This is your victory day, and we sing to you. Debatavina haisata, vaina dafi donsa. Debatavina haisata, vaina dafi donsa.
Ahlam love, you know what I mean? She just brings just so much upliftment. Our next act, now we're wrapping up to the end of the night. Shout out to all, everybody give yourselves a round of applause for sticking with us. So we have a couple more performers. Y'all finna stay with us, shout? Huh? Okay, just double checking. Our next performer we have, this sister came all the way from Seattle to be with us tonight, mashallah. Jamina, she be jamming. Come to the stage. Let them know a little bit about yourself. Let's hear your beautiful art.
Thank you all for hanging out so long. It really makes the drive worthwhile. So I really appreciate y'all. I need to close. This is such a beautiful intimate space. So yeah, let's get to it. My name is Jamina, and the root word for Jamina is Jamin, which actually means God's right hand. That's not like the literal hand, right? It actually represents like the right side or right path. So I just have to, honor my mom as, for gifting me that name. I'm going to start with Surah Al-Fatiha. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم
غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
So the reason why I start with Al-Fatiha is the more I explore the Quran and all its miracles and amazements, the closer I become to my Creator. And knowing my Creator. So that by virtue of that, I become closer to knowing myself, right? And my purpose. And I also start with that because I've come to learn and know that that is actually God's introduction of Himself to us. So I feel as though it's only right that I give all praise and thanks and honor my Creator before I even introduce myself. So that's something that is important to me. So I want to share that with you all. So next I'll just do my introduction piece. That's all right with you. I'm not your personal radio that you can press stop and play. I'm not your personal radio making the bumps in your car vibrate. I'm not your personal radio, I don't repeat or imitate. I've studied all the best, yes, all the greats, from Mrs. Hill to Billie Holiday. From Mrs. Hill to Billie Holiday. So when I grab the mic and I go to work, I don't perform, I just sing for me. So this next piece, I have to. This is what. This is what. Bismillah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah, sis. This is what we call a UCIB, and I have to honor one of my mentors, Stephanie Hazelrig, who's the founder of Naked Truth on Stereotypes. If anybody has questions about what that is and all that, please come find me after the show. So anyways, this is where this piece was actually birthed. 14 years later, you still see a towelhead, a terrorist, someone ready with a bomb strapped to her chest to violate good old Americans. You see a foreigner, an oppressed woman who if only would uncover, life would be more liberating. You see a housewife, waiting on him hand and foot, readily accessible. You see an African with no personal aspirations living in this country taking up space, and I'd better know my place. And it's not about race if you get away with beating me in the streets and leaving me to die and bleed on my face. Like a disgrace. You see submissive. Taking up space that belongs to you. Excuse me, I was sitting there next to my friend. Can you move over? Over there. You see domesticated. Cook, clean, sew, bake, make. Things that you can wear to be more exotic. Teach me how you wrap that, it's so hot. You see a victim. Someone who must have deserved it, who should have stayed wrapped and preserved it. You see unwavering black woman, emotionless, yet strong, put together, but still a slave. The second piece is the I beat, right? I always have to shake that first one off because it's like all the stereotypes, and the second piece is really meant to deconstruct all of that mess, right? So this is who I be. I am the writer, I've got the pen, blessed with the knowledge, gifted within. What are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? Dino Badunya, yeah, that's what's up. Right for my own, my Hijabi's hood up. What are you waiting for? Silence is uncalled for. Muslima, wrapped tight, ready to take flight and soar. Berkeley, California native, raised in Tacoma on the hill, I come from art with heart. A songbird, liberated by choice through voice, I sing me and my ancestors into existence. I be fulfilled in my partnership and roles as a visionary, educator, and activist. I be a homemaker, sewing the seams of my family tight, bound by threads of connection, compassion, community. I be the foundation. I be the host of my baby, rocked gently and carried for 9 months plus. I be the bearer of life and the keeper of its wounds and stretches, like delicate love tat sketches. I earned every tiger stripe on my belly, and now she calls me Umi. I be loved by a man who embraced my flaws and all. Waiting patiently through trauma-stricken screams and cries for help, I be blessed, worthy, and deserving. I be in a partnership that is growing and decisions are never made by force. I be an agent for change, designing hijabi threads, speaking truth to power for my community. Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. I be confident, humbled, and learning, pushing boundaries while healing. I be a survivor of child abuse, adult assault, and molestation by family and ex-lovers who vowed to respect and love me. I be a holder of space. I be late and progressing on time management, but moving with grace. I be centered and whole. I be a turbanista wrapping scarves like my ancestors to keep out the heat, but I wear them for me. And no, you can't see. I be black, proud, and Muslim in 2015, praying to the Creator who said, be. And it was. So I am, and I be free. Come on. This next piece is called Black Like Me. And I actually realized recently as I was kind of going over it, it's also that acronym for the Black Lives Matter movement. So, mashallah, double meanings. Why are you going down there to protest? Because you matter. Because Black lives matter. That moment you realize you are a reminder of your father-in-law's blackness. Black lips, black coat, black ski cap, black, black, black. But all this black he'd rather give back. I wonder where he first learned to start hating himself. When did he start locking the doors as he rolled through the CD? When did he first start thinking that light meant right and bright and all things good? Do you even remember? Well, I do. I remember the first time I was ever spit on. Fistball tight, I took flight. I pray Allah forgives me for my first fight. 1992. I remember being called a nigger. 1994. I remember my hair being different. Not straight enough to fit in. Not quite thin. 1997. I remember my skin. And then my own family's internalized self-hate. Girl, you better get from off that sun. You already dark enough. Enough. 1999. But by 2001, I had already had enough. Between 9/11 and the war on drugs, I knew that to have the skin meant I had to be tough. A diamond in the rough. A rough system not meant for me, for we. I had to rewire that I could get free, just so I could be. So tell me when and where did you first learn to start hating yourself? Because baby, this black don't crack. Black lives matter. You matter. And when you forget, remember, you are black like me. So I will keep marching in these streets until you join me in the ranks and we all get free. I'm going to keep it rolling because I really want to be respectful of the other beautiful sisters coming up. This next one is Locked Out of Love. He said, wrap your arms around yourself and give yourself a hug for me. And know that I love you as well. Thank you again. But don't cry for me. He is locked up. Locked in, locked out of love. In the pen, prison, jail, cage, like a bird whose wings have been clipped and dipped in molasses.
except chains cannot be washed off. Their sole purpose is to contain, crush, lock, down for life. Contained like slaves, point, shoot, and aimed at the youth. Mass consumption, living proof that bodies mean business and this money market is a boom. Souls crushed by judge hammers, guilty verdicts, dirty cops, lapped out for life from love, from the right to vote and basic needs to survive, to be free. Contain, crush, lock, locked out of love, suppressed, ignored, numb, labeled deaf, blind, and dumb. These 2-second tap, tap, hugs and pat, pat business aren't enough. So he said, wrap your arms around yourself and give yourself a hug from me and know that I love you as well. Thank you again, but don't cry for me. I said, but you're worthy of every tear, and I fear if I suppress my chest can't express the depths of my heart's love for you. So I'm sorry, but I must, but please trust that these tears aren't just for me, they are for you too. They are not wasted or in vain. They fall for every tear you have to refrain, for every puffed chest, clenched jaw, and balled fist that often comes at cost of life or death. Survival for the fit, contain, but maintain your honor. Contain, but maintain your honor and respect. Crush bones, bodies, and souls farther. Lock tears, emotions, and any sign of whole persons, living things, human beings. So when he says, don't cry for me, in his breath pause of silence, I know exactly what he means. He doesn't want to be missed while he is still alive, erasing that in the present he still exists and therefore can thrive. So I know that I cannot give up this fight because your freedom is dependent on my rights. Therefore this love, these tears, rebirth your life. This next one is a ode to Langston Hughes. It is a piece of a lullaby for Black mothers, and I actually discovered this one when I was reading this book from the library to my daughter, so this kind of was brewed from that. And I dedicate this piece to my body and my daughter. I am grateful for my body. Let me actually read it. This is my dear top boy. Yeah, just give a second. My little dark baby, my little earthling, my little loved one, what shall I sing for your lullaby? Moon, moon, great diamond moon, kissing the night. My little earth baby, my dark body baby. Stars, stars, moonlight, stars, moon, for your sleep song lullaby. I am grateful for my body, the weight it carries, the places it has taken me, carries me vicariously, sifting and shifting gears depending on the season and the reason. Holding me graciously in accountability for what I put in it. I am neither skinny or thin, but curvy hips and full thighs whose size changes with my pace, and sometimes fullness in my face. Strength in numbers, both my arms lift weights, plates, baby plates that feed mouths, hands that spoon feed babies, fingers that shh my little sunray to sleep. Lips that love gently, holding kisses and words of humble poetic jazz filled beats and sweet melodies. Melodies that move me to higher ground, like higher powers that free me to open my eyes and see another day, so I can say yet again, Alhamdulillah. All praises to the one who shaped me from clay, fashioned and formed me from a piece of cloth. So when I'm feeling chewed up and spit out, stuck on the ground by the harshness of the world, I embrace that place in humility, For in that place of prostration I remember the shoot-up gun shape from which I come. And I am again grateful. This is my last couple of pieces. Hit the road. So this next one is Keep Your Head Up. So this one is kind of like, y'all really got to rock with me on this one. I got the baby, so I'm going to rock her, but I need y'all to hold me in hold space, okay?
I got you.
All right. If you're working 9 to 5 on the corner every night because you've got a lot of bills past due, and you left your baby homesick and crying all alone since his daddy dipped out on you. Your baby brother's 13 and he's got a lot of dreams to be the first to graduate high school. But for now he's up to his dope so we can save a lot of dough to buy that first ticket out the hood. Your mama's getting old and out the hospital, got a case from who she don't know. And before she goes to sleep, she prays to God Almighty that He has mercy on her soul. Just keep your head up. I see you working really hard. Just keep your head up. I know you'll make it very far. Just keep your head up. Someday you'll be a superstar. I bet you didn't know that you already are. That you already. I know this girl named Kay goes to school every day, puts on a front, lives a double life. Cause she's so busy trying to please, living other people's dreams. Dropped out cause she was living a lie. Dropped out cause she was living a lie. Dropped out cause she was living a lie. Do what you do just to remain true, cause this life is temporary. Whenever life takes you, my advice for you is don't forget your reality. For all my ladies on the streets, dumps are dying just to eat. Just keep your head up, just keep your head up. For all my victims of abuse, there's a better life for you. Just keep your head up, just keep your head up. For all my ladies that say cause you finally got away, keep your head up, just keep your head up. When life gets around, baby, please don't give up. I'm just gonna exit on the one that I like to say is kind of like the Umra's mantra. And that's the one that I started my UCID with. So if y'all remember the words, you can pick up on the words, just join in. This is like our Muslim anthem right here. Alright? So this one's, I am the writer, I've got the pen, blessed with the knowledge, gifted within. What are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? Dino Virginia, yeah, that's what's up. Rep for my ummah, Hijabi's hood up. What are we waiting for? Silence is uncalled for.
Give it up for Jamila. Okay, we have 2 more performers tonight. Y'all still with us? All right, next, this MC, Muslima hip-hop artist, came all the way from LA to join us. She's personally one of my favorite Muslima MCs out there right now. Everybody put your hands together for Asa Lioness.
Thank you for sticking around. Big respect, big respect to Hijabi Chronicles and to all the sisters that came up here and just shared what's in their hearts. I'm gonna keep it short. So I want to share something in my language. And if you listen, you'll be able to understand it. It's about unity. Tayo na ay magmahalan, tayo'y magtulungan, ibalik ang bayanihan, mahirap man o mayaman, kapwa-tao ay aasahan. No syuda budaw gila na ubusan na ng liha, unawain ang pagkago sa buhay at salita, intindihin ang ating likha at ang iyong pag-iisip dahil mas malaga sa pera ang buhay at pag-ibig. Ang hilig ng hangin ay kanta ng kaluluwa, respetuhin ang matatanda at ang kwento ni Lolo at Lola dahil importante nating malaman ang ating kasaysayan para makarating tayo sa ating paroroonan. Matuto ng Tagalog, Ilocano o Bisaya, ituro sa mga bata ang historya ni Tantang Sora, Prinsesa Urduha, Rizal at Katipunan, labo-labo ang mga dato, Sultana Raha, Mahalika, Sumagawa. Igorot saray ka, ikaw ay maganda, ikaw ay mahalaga, ikaw ay maganda, ikaw ay mahalaga. This one's called Pressure. Yeah. Everybody got a story to tell. This is my version. In this verse, I disperse all of my adversaries, driving mountains and valleys, dope spots and alleys. The sweet taste of victory, these facts in this reality. The music of calamity, mental agony. What the devil's trying to break, the spirit of happiness, but the love that I possess never leave me to stress. Illuminates fluorescence within my deepest essence with these optical lenses. I've seen many expressions, always keeping me guessing. Only constant questions, futuristic investments, blueprints and lessons, searching for a deeper message in the chasm of a crevice. Yes, it has been bittersweet. Nevertheless, it was complete. From the growth of a man, from a seed to a tree. Trials I defeated, at times subdued to many. Struggles don't leave, they come and flow, easy as a breeze. We gon' rise above, we gon' keep alive. Overcoming, override the pressures in our life. Got to keep on moving, time to motivate. All of the blessings and the gifts we have to demonstrate. We gonna rise above, we gon' keep alive. Overcoming, override the pressures in our life. Got to keep on moving, time to motivate. All of the blessings and the gifts. This life is on a mission, dedicated with precision. There's no time for indecision, manifest my dreams and visions. Only with God's permission, I break down these mental prisons. Release your inhibitions, follow your intuitions. Have to deep complete to be reborn again. When the truth will be revealed, I give you the truth, my world. Cleared up the paradox, fantasies been so confusing. Lived up to your potential, now I'm in my zen. Gotta touch the mic, lesson back in the lab again. Cooking up rhymes, intellect, type effect, never wreck God's endowment. Swift to catch 100 and proof, refine my guess when it ain't elevating. Gotta make a mental shift, it's showstopper. Go get a trendsetter, fresh in any weather. When it comes to praying, my obedience will regret. Inshallah, I hope the past will be good. Yeah, we gonna rise above, chanting like this. Overcoming, override the pressure in our life. Got to keep on moving, time to motivate. All of the lessons and the gifts we have to demonstrate. We gonna rise above, we gonna keep alive. Overcoming, override the pressures in our life. Got to keep on moving, time to motivate. All of the blessings and the gifts. Yeah. Oh, 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 oh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, 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 oh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is dedicated to all the kings and queens, shining like beats, showing nothing but love supreme. To my aunties and aunties, upholding their beam. I know it gets spinning, it ain't easy as it seems. To the hustle, the grind, the dreamers and the seekers who don't sleep or catch you sitting up on the beaches. To all the single mamas raising, they used to rap, working on the double sister as the overstands with struggles. We gon' keep alive, overcoming, override the pressures in our life. Got to keep on moving, time to motivate. All of the blessings and the gifts we have to demonstrate. We gonna rise above, we gon' keep alive, overcoming, override the pressures in our life. Got to keep on moving, got to keep on moving. Cause I got love for you. You. my videographer. Actually. So, okay. This one is this song is about my mother. Pull it up. Open your windows and soar. The life you choose to flow. When it's close, open the door. This calling can be ignored. But time passes by as the sky begins to cry. The rain eases the pain from the memories I left behind. It's too easy to assume that as a week resumes, like the dawning of the moon, the road's first time to do. The footsteps and the breath are calculated with precision, and every bit's ancient movements towards the mission. I never fully express my appreciation. Forgive me, now you're too far to reach. Still, I see you in my dreams, and just like yesterday, you had plans to visit me, to spend time at the beach with the children to repeat. Let the ocean wash away the trouble and feel the breeze. But life is too short and that creeps in unexpectedly. My intentions, unspoken words provoke me to write this letter. I hope you end up better place, resting on a comfortable space. I know destiny, there's only time reveals and gives the most to see. You are blessed and I pray your resting place will have a wider space in your imperfect peace. Yes, we all hope for the best and try to pass the test, so don't live your life in regret. The journey of this life is short, so the whispers of your heart don't ignore. Open your wings and soar. The life you dream to explore. When it's closed, open the door. This calling can't be ignored. I wanna say thank you, and I wanna say I love you. Don't know if you can hear me, but now I see things clearly. When I was far, you would know me. All my life I was so needy, truly beloved dearly. I say this with sincerely. In fact, the children and I reminisce and reminded that we never lacked in this life. As I calculated and patiently, I will. The next time I see your face, when we need to get at the gates, inshallah, I'll tell you all the ways. How I think you are so great, and I pray your space is wide, with the angels by your side, and there's not a day passing by where I don't mention your name when I contemplate. Struggles are all blessings in this God. You are my guiding light. Your smile forever embedded in my mind. You are blessed and I pray your resting place will have a wider space in your imperfect peace. Yes, we all hope for the best and strive to pass the test, so don't live your life in regret. The journey of this life is short, so the whispers of your heart don't ignore. We're gonna skip we're gonna go to the look of love. We're gonna keep it short. So this song is a love song. All of my songs are love songs, even though they don't seem like it. But this is for all the lovers of love, and to the lovers of the beloved. One more time. All the lovers, throw your hands up like this. It's my life. No was in your eyes, a split second I realize the stars perfectly aligned, projected love vibes make me feel higher in the sky. I cannot hide, even deny, get so shy, electrify, rosy cheeks and butterflies, the kind of smile mesmerized, magnetizing your delight, gratified to your side, synchronize what we reply. I'll be the one to feel a little tingle in my spot. When you propose in marriage and ask me to be your wife, I've been waiting for this love for a long, long time. Overstanding even wide like the bump for river now. Never mind if I'm on cloud nine, true blessing from the divine. Your love is like a southern artistry, beauty of the night. Love is in your eyes. The look of love is in your eyes. Your eyes, your eyes, your eyes. The look of love in your eyes. Yeah, it's in your eyes. You are there when I need any assistance. Like my guardian angel capture this expression. I practice to perfection, to get this right passion. Exactly that intention, you'll never have to question. My love will keep you guessing, my virtue is your blessing. I pass all of the testing, no worries in my nesting. I'm for you, eyes so for your help, till your belly swell. I know exactly when to ring the bell. You want us to share this gift, lift you up and ease the pressure when you feel a shift. Drift into the night and be the stars, ignore the lights. Ignite the fire when the sprites, keep the visions in my sight. Manifest them into light. It's in your eyes, the look of love. It's in your eyes, your eyes, the eyes, the look of love. It's in your eyes, the look of love. It's in your eyes. Yo, in the bush we are go keep it posted. In the bush when I go worry it no sleep. No matter that if it's a summer get noisy. I the type of wife I like to wake up early and raise a big from the path of Islam. The righteous deeds just the best of we can. Now want to sleep with the problem we solve it. That's how we stay forever, my man. We got married on a Sunday morning. We couldn't make the little clergy. No, we got married on a Sunday morning. We got married on after that we took a little journey. Just me and my darling. Yo, Father said that we would reach the morning. We got married on a, we got married on a. We got married on a. To all the married couples, let's strengthen your marriage. So I want everybody, this is my last short linger. So I want everyone to just join me to clap 3 times like this. Is next. Okay, this is, man, I don't even know how to introduce you properly, sis, but please, this sister have done so much for personally and for the community, and we are very, 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 very grateful for her, and she's very, very special in our hearts. Please give a round of applause. Welcome to our sister, Aliyah Sharif. Assalamu alaikum, and may peace and blessings be upon you. My name is Aliyah Sharif, and I most definitely come in peace. But for some reason we can't get no peace. But we'll talk about that a little later. Y'all ready for this? All praise to the Most High, never the Most Fly. Place to the one who created the sunrise. Face to the east, still guys in the beat. 40 years ago, but every 1 billion Muslims been killed. Innocent civilians, dying by the millions. They still spending billion dollars on drones. Bodies being blown. They ain't even worried about the children. Don't get it twisted. Islam is the meaning of peace, and it's easy to flip this because of what the media brings. Don't get caught up in them Islam's rapture.
stuff, but sisters and brothers, we need each other. Hey, don't get it twisted. Islam is the meaning of truth, and it's easy to flip this because of what the media spoofs. Don't get caught up in fraud, telling you that they God, but really they highly flawed. Who Allah, who Baha, la ilaha illallah. I said la ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. There's only one God, one God. There's only one God, one God. There's only one God, one God. One God, one God. I'm like Allahu Akbar kabira, walhamdulillahi kathira, wa subhanallahi wa bihamdihi bukratan wa asila. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Thank you, thank you. That's why I get on stage and let's tell them what time it is. Let's tell them what time it is. So again, thank you all so much for coming out into the world. What we got next? Mr. DJ, aka my husband. This song is dedicated to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Like who could this be? Prophesied, taking the seed. No need to run away, just as they guarantee. Revelation received. Angel Gabriel told me to read 6:10 when it began. God gave us relief to show us the deal. Final order for that mighty yellow creed. Closest to Moses, Mullah, but they don't even know this. Last messenger you chosen. Brought us the Holy Quran. African calling, he's gone. Carry your memory on strong. Like the Sahaba, we still facing the Kaaba. Muhammad, the prince of this world and hereafter. Still of the prophets, if you rock with, locksmith, by the message with no problem. Oh Allah, please send peace and blessings on your best creations. And still lead the Ummah and your voice for nation. And don't forget about your prophet. Habib. Oh Allah, please send peace and blessings upon the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the best of all creation. Though they may be slandering his name, Allah, he was the best of all creations regardless. So we like, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. Now there's over 1 billion Muslims in the world, all because the message that you delivered, it didn't come to her yet, didn't come to him yet, came to me. If they don't believe, then they better ask Jesus, cause hey, he said Ahmed will come after me. Now to see the misconceptions is catastrophe, blasphemy, cause now they smear blood on my religion, shedding blood in division, but can't change the definition of Islam. And don't forget about your prophet. Allah Habib. Oh Allah, please send peace and blessings upon the best of all creations. Allah, right now as Muslims, we're facing a lot. We're facing a lot of things that are coming at us that we have nothing to do with us. Oh Allah, please guide us on the straight path and let us remember your message. Let us all be knowledgeable. Let us all seek knowledge first and never just listen to what the media says to us. Let us really get the facts. All right. Had to zone out real quick. MashaAllah. What we got next? Thank you so much. I did write that song about the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. All this stuff going on in the world right now. We had recently, they tried to draw cartoons of him. And my expression of resistance was making a song defending the prophet from defamation like the poets back in his time did for him. So I'm carrying on that legacy, inshallah. What we got next? Uh-oh. Black heroes? Who know about black heroes? Alright. You know, the Most High is one. He has no father, no son. And I'm gonna tell you a little bit about a black hero called me. A black hero in our history. Black heroes, period. It's deeper than what they're telling us. Black, we the roots. We the roots. We the roots. We the roots. Hey, look, I'm like dun, yeah, I'm coming to the rescue. Moving like I'm playing chess, invested in my next move. Media attack on black, they changing the facts, don't make me act up. This is just a test until they let the greed affect them. Don't believe in a resurrection, say pray Jesus and neglect them. Teach you down unless it's reckless until they take their breath. It's easy to say yes. Take that to the omniscience. Now you changing their consciousness and we coming to you like a friend. Say your friends, yeah, yes, we doing it for the ladies. Cause they trying to sell us unity, foolishly trying to say, ladies, don't give in to the sin. Know that this guy's the streets attacking your innocence within. Roots of the street, stronger than leaves. No comparing branches, baby. You're gonna see, we're gonna bring true cause we black heroes. We gonna show you how they rewrote history. Willie Lynch's letter, it ain't no mystery. They stole it from us all, and now we gotta free them all. Cause we black heroes, we black heroes. We black heroes, y'all black heroes back here. Black, cause I'm black like the first man who wrote the Ethon. African like the emperor of Ethiopia. I'm dark like the night when it penetrates the day. Prophet Adam, peace be upon him, was made with dark clay. I won't partake in these evil ways of the dunya. Pray and make bright lights maroon ya. Confusion, I can't entertain plain Jane raunchiness. They take shots at us, say it's cause God we trust. But they ain't talking about the Most High. They talking about the one night underneath the dollar sign. Lies and ruins, consume us with the truth. Every 28 hours a black and assassinated. Was incarcerated, this is so good in this day. So we banging on the door. Government, we don't want wars on the underground y'all put forward. It's time to move forward. No more puppets to move forward. Cause black heroes will not stand for it. Hey, we the roots of the trees, stronger than leaves. No comparing branches, baby. You're gonna see, we're gonna bring the truth cause we black heroes. We're gonna show you freedom all. Freedom all. Freedom all. No mystery. Freedom all. Free H-Rap Brown, Jamil Alameen, Matula Shakur, Little Peltier, free all political prisoners! Cause we, free all! Yes, I said we black heroes, but we ain't ever no stress. No test, we gotta confess what it is from our heart. Tell y'all I be freestyling from my mind from the start. Yes! Black heroes, let me tell y'all something real quick, okay? When I wrote that song, obviously you can tell it's a lot of passion. When we talked about our panel discussion, this the Arab culture versus our culture versus hip hop, that had a lot to do with it, okay? You can't demean me because I'm black. You can't put haram on me because I'm black, okay? The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he assigned the first person who called the Adhan. And that was who? But loud, okay? Black, like, okay, let me stop. Okay, next tune, what we got? Alright, we gotta start that from the top. So this is called Guide. I'm gonna give you a good introduction. Until he set the record straight. You know what game you win, play to win, clean slate. Like it's just a minute, Jinn at the final mission. Better show recognition to the soul that he giving you. Control that he's lending you, don't fall to his limited. Gotta uphold your discipline, don't give up your spiritual. Living in a world where they want us lost in this whirlwind. Pure hearts look like criminals, living Guard your chest, don't be like the rest, and you'll last this. She'll remember rest the whole fast kid, cause we all must return to Allah. Oh, guide me on the straight path, the one that holds fast, everlasts me from your wrath. The only one I'm asking is, He the supreme king, don't be blasphemous. And see, things seem like they getting attached to this plastic ish. Got you running around this magic drift. Your life passes, now you gotta go back to Him. Stuck in that matrix mentality, sequels for morality. New society can't rely on me, the most highest He. Better get on your D, don't be no loser of the dunya. Can't deny the truth, so they misconstrue it for rumors. False picture for consumers, create a wrong fiction, make do it. The Quran says that they'll do it like this, now it's time to prove to it, yeah. I mean they stole it from us all. Wrote up a new criteria, then taught you how to ball. Go Warriors, so you wouldn't have no idea what. I mean they stole it from us all. Centuries of rewritten history, you know. And they think because you know how to ball, whichever way it is, you have no idea. But y'all got ideas, right? Y'all got ideas, right? Yeah, I would hope so. Look, I'm like this. I'm like, look, they stole it from us all. Got you out here crawling. You don't know how to crawl it. Waiting for someone's calling. But don't fall for this y'all's plan. Why he's telling y'all all in? Why you applauding all this nonsense affecting your subconscious being black? In America, it's a fact. They scare you and shoot you in your back. Unaware if you strapped up, not they lay you flat for a sneak attack. Public lynching back, pretentious to distract. Distorted facts, present you shifting your opinion, so we won't react when having that. Africa, Syria, Palestine to Iraq. Don't divide, stay alive. Now we gotta stay united. Besides, we're living in the times where genocide, homicide, viral, all behind that dollar bill. That when I dollar sign that kill. Today, I woke up and I realized something. I love you, Mr. DJ. I was gonna go to this shit. What we got next? What we got next? Uh-oh, like that. Okay, so look, I haven't really done this song much at these kind of arenas, but I'm gonna do this song tonight. It's called Like That. And I'm talking to the DJ who keeps playing these songs on replay and replay, brainwashing the whole entire society. Y'all know what I mean? Right? Look, I'm done with fools and playing by the rules. I stay creative because the Lord grants me to. I see these phonies and leave them lonely, and I'm my own me. My mama real close, she my only homie. I ain't no phony, no funny, no free, no jabroni, no Tony, no phony. I'm my own lead, totally what you don't wanna be. I say original, cause my last name Cherie. Head chief, so I preach, never teach. I said the word like I what? Never breathe, cheat, or slip. And abandoning any plans to abandon it. Now it's sleeping till it's peace, no sleep. Take it easy until I sleep. They say they want me lyrical, not spiritual, please. Let it air, let it breathe, let it bring new dreams. For me, I mean, oh, it's like that, but you don't want to bring it right back. Why? Cause you don't hear me on the radio. You better listen to your stereo. You better fall back. Why? Cause you don't even know me like that. What? You want to hear me on the radio? You better listen to your what? Look. They don't want real music, they wanna abuse it, use it, fuel it to ruin the viewers. Misconstrue the truth is you're ruining the viewers. Screw with the fuel on that, lack facts like racks. Step that, put you on a plat. You ain't even asked if we doing bad, you ain't even back. She just had a dance, we ain't learning jack. Now I gotta smash it. Who me? Keep it too concrete. Got heat, maybe on that 1, 2, 3-ish, not me. I be on that one drop beat it. I beat wonder why in front of you see it. I'ma put that extra minute in it. Eyes on the prize. DJ spin it. Why you acting like you never witnessed? True business on the radio. DJ spin it. Hey, always like that, huh? But they don't wanna bring it right back. Why? Cause they don't hear me on the radio. You better listen to your stereo. Why? You better fall back. What? You wanna hear me on the radio? We gon' get real personal right quick, right? Slow down, motivated, precise. Put the extra minute in the eyes on the prize. DJ, spin it. Why you acting like you never witnessed true business? Hey, slow down, motivated, precise. Put the extra minute in the eyes on the prize. DJ, spin it. Why you acting like you never witnessed true business? Hey, look, I say he jabbed up, modest in my fashion, classy. I'ma make it last cause it's happening. I ain't never worried about no has-beens or no trends. Just tryna blend in. Always like that. What? But you don't wanna bring it back, huh? Cause you don't really already know. You better listen to your stereo. You better fall back. Why? Cause you don't even know you like that. Cause you don't really already know. Is that Mr. DJ? So, that was alright. Oh my goodness, so hip hop to me is what you just seen, you know what I mean? This is something that helps me breathe, it helps me live, it helps me heal, it helps me deal with life. So we definitely have to keep encouraging conversations in the Ummah about Muslim women and hip hop especially, because for a lot of us, this is our medicine and this is our way to give a gift to the world and do more than just let you, hey. We actually want to teach you something, inshallah. So I want you to drop a beat, Mr. DJ, before we get out of here. Just a random beat or a hip hop beat you got. Whoop, whoop. Thank you all for coming out. Give yourself a round of applause, please. What is this beat? Hey, I said I had a great night tonight. I hope you have a really safe night. For those who are leaving, I doubt you are, because San Francisco don't want to drive your car. I told y'all you better catch bars, but y'all didn't believe me. I told y'all to get on the bus, but y'all didn't want to see me. But you came here and I appreciate it. I love you all. Ooh yeah, I want to call my girls to the stage who ripped it up, knew how to behave. I'm talking to Asa, lioness, I see you better get up, you ain't no imposter. Come up, Kamisha, you already know what's up. Amira, where you at, how you doing? Everybody else who is pursuing, I'm talking about the Suleiman sisters, Kamisha, Fatia, and they don't mess up. I'm talking about all my girls, Drugshawn, where you at, making us think about our world and our clothes, halal stitches, bringing those, yo, Zareen and Amila. Couldn't do without you, never seen a better performer than you are. Thank you, girl, for the flowers. Hey, is that all we got, Zareen? You better come over here to the scene. Who else we missing? We have 14. Hobicia, I know you in the room. Better be where you at. Is she in the bathroom? You don't like cats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stay alive, got the youth on her side. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 again. 11's arenas in the house rocking. I mean, you guys better go and donate. That's what I wanted to say. Couldn't think of the rhyme. Maybe another day. But anyways, back to what I was rapping about. I said donate. Allow stitches. This girl really got it. She got a clear vision. She's a director. One heck of a woman. Yes. Everybody else passing the test. Amila, you're always coming through. What it do? You be like, girls, who you? And I be like, fine, girl. Who else? Wanna write? Who wanna freestyle? I said like that. When it
Thank you for coming out. We wanna say thank you. We thank you from the bottom of my heart. Yeah, no doubt. I don't really usually freestyle, but one love to everybody who came tonight. I know that sometimes we gotta take flights.
mountain, never stopping. Women are experts at survival. Man, that's some real stuff. Can't even get a rhyme because it's so tough. Yes, yes. But can we do I guess an MC pose for the night? And if you guys want to talk about this event afterwards, please hashtag the Hijabi Chronicles or hashtag Muslim Women in Hip Hop. Please give it up for our beautiful, wonderful, motivating, inspiring ladies tonight. And yes, we'll be posing for the camera. We'll be taking a picture for y'all. Yes. Who got the selfie stick? I need one. I heard it's only $5. Let's move towards the light. Love and light. Y'all got your pick? Okay, 1, 2, 3, pop.
We're gonna close this out with one also some the music. Please, DJ. Please, Mr. DJ, please stop that favorite song. Thank you, my brother, because the Lord is with us. And He heard us when we said, well, awesome. So let's get it done, son.
Let's do it. Lord, prayers.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك وأشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك الحمد لله جزاك الله خيرا for your time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
So we're going to be out of here in 15 minutes, y'all. We're coming out. Thank you very much. In about 15 minutes, the venue has to wrap up. So please say salam, give your goodbye.
In addition to the fact that I needed the message to be in line with tonight's theme, which is resistance. So I finally finished this about 30 minutes ago. So I'm gonna do it OG style. Literally about 30 minutes before I got here, I finished this. And back in the day, they called it poetry readings. So that's what I'm gonna do. We about to have a poetry reading. All right, Bismillah. Into the ear of every listener, which includes me, I'm going to use this opportunity to speak very frankly. Let me start with this. I do not deem myself an artist, but to benefit you, I'm really going to strive my hardest. When it comes to this crowd, I have only one desire, which is to inspire one and all to guard against the fire. My words, though spoken, are not to gain snaps or points. They're simply intended to lubricate our spiritual joints. Therefore, I promise not to waste our precious time together ranting about my political views, nor will I spend what could be my last breath addressing the foolishness in mainstream news. Yet, that leads me to this. Whether or not our mind's eye does or does not exist, it's the calls from our lower selves we should be striving to resist. We must resist worshiping anything other than the one who created us, making resisting the idea that God has any partners, sons, or daughters a must. We must resist the call to sleep by responding to the call to prayer. We must resist discontentment, knowing we can't have more than our share. We must resist meat in between our teeth. We must resist having the meat of each other in between our teeth. We must resist falling into despair by tightly clinging to our belief. We must resist holding on to things that we temporarily possess, realizing things only increase in their value when given to those who have less. We must resist using forms of interest for our material gain. We must resist becoming intoxicated with anger simply by remaining sane. We must resist having intimate relations with anyone other than our mate. We must resist getting high on substances we know displeases the most great. Sisters, we must resist pursuing marriage through polygyny's back door, knowing if it was her shoes we were wearing, we'd want her to respect us more. I must resist the thought that I'm excluded from this poetic equation. Yes, even as I stand before you now, I'm seeking refuge from my ego's persuasion. Brothers, you must resist forsaking your children in the name of your baby mama. Even if it means taking her tail to court, don't let your children suffer due to grown folks' drama. We must resist posting our personal business on social media for our whole world to see. Just as we must not boast about our sins veiled by our Creator's divine mercy. We must resist watching things that plant subtle seeds of moral corruption, knowing our actions are a direct reflection of our own mental consumption. We must resist our favorite artists when what they spew incline us towards sin. Yes, the most important resistance is the one that starts from within. We must resist being the weakest of faith when injustice looks us straight in the eye. But we must be just as diligent in our preparation for the moment that our earthly body will die. It is our examples more than our words that will teach resistance to our ripening youth. Thus, within ourselves, we must resist that which is wrong and always stand upon the truth. To worship and praise is the only reason we exist, even though we encounter resistance at every turn. But still, we must resist taking the path of least resistance, knowing that that meat is greasy and the fire does burn. So in closing, I leave you with this. Whether or not our mind eye does or does not exist, it's the call from our lower selves we should all be striving to resist. Thank you. In closing, I'd like to thank you for your time and your attention. And please know that anything that benefits you came from our Creator. And anything that didn't feel so good, that rubbed you the wrong way, came directly from me. And I ask that you forgive me. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Wow, y'all look so beautiful, mashallah. My name is Jamina, and I am a creative storyteller. Hi, baby. That's my baby. Top boy out there, my husband. And I'm a creative storyteller, and I speak resistance to bring life and voice, like writing myself and my ancestors into existence. And also it's a way for me to be able to control the Islamic narrative. So Jazakallah khair for having me.
Assalamualaikum, I'm Suhaila Suleiman, and hip hop and resistance means that I can break down barriers of like stereotypes.
Assalamu alaikum, I'm Asiya Suleiman, and I like to use poetry and art and hip hop to set the record straight for the Islamic culture.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Zareen. I'm an educator, a writer, and a filmmaker, and I'm hoping to promote my documentary to come called Halal Stitches, and start an organization called Miriam Redesign, meeting Muslim artists redesigning your understanding of Islam. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum everyone. I am the founder of an ethical brand, Purple Impression, and our form of resistance is to fight against fast fashion and promote hand embroidery and give a voice to women in Pakistan through employment and fair wage.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm glad you read about these lights. My name is Amila Elamine, and I am a writer. And when it comes to resistance, most of what I write is to help me process what's going on inside of me and resisting my lower self. So that is why I write.
I'm Yasmin Mayan Minty Bobo, and I'm a published hip-hop journalist, and I think like a lot of folks here, I've practiced resistance and expressed resistance through my published work and through my personal writing also. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm Kamisha Fatima. I express resistance, got a long relationship with this. I express resistance by stepping into that uncomfortable, and figuring out how to get comfortable with the uncomfortable and try to teach and help others to remember, not teach, but help us to remember, remind myself and remind others.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Narmeen, and I express resistance through hip-hop through the medium of graffiti art. And I believe that visual art allows us to interrupt the aesthetic. I think as Muslim women and women of color, we are often exoticized and people like to paint pictures of us, but it's really important that we paint those pictures too.
So mashallah, give it up for our lighter. Also, we gotta make sure, I want to make sure we shout out the Mission Cultural Center. This is a legendary spot. We are so honored to present with the Mission Cultural Center. Shout out Adrina. She has been helping us organize this event. We love you. Thank you so much for all your hard work. Give it up for Adrina. All right. So again, one more round of applause. We're gonna get the show started. All our Muslim sisters. We'll be back for more, so again, we're gonna get started. Thank you, ladies, thank you, ladies. So again, this is what Hijabi Chronicles is bringing together, is sisterhood. And despite the tribals and the journeys that we experience, that I've experienced personally, just trying to get this together, it's always worth it, just seeing all these sisters together and uniting. So, mashallah.
For you to put on this production.
Thank you.
And she got this mic working. What's up? Okay, but I'm gonna just turn it on. It's off. So the next person can have it. Okay, so I must humbly admit, preparing for this evening was really hard for me for different reasons. To say I had writer's block would be an understatement. I had more like writer's brick wall. Seriously. First of all, it was like I didn't want to come before you and not leave you with something applicable, you know, something that you could apply when you left here. But also, I need to just read this. Most of all, when I'm done, I really want my angels to record, Allah, she delivered your message. But the problem was I know what the message was. Really, I couldn't figure out what the message was supposed to be. Our Creator has said, be modest so you will not be harassed, molested, or disrespected. Modesty is as natural as a beautiful landscape and a gift from Allah. The reflections of a Muslim woman reader of 19 years of African American descent, immersed in the Muslim community, centered around the Bay Area at a time when Islamophobia and heightened racial oppression against people of color. Meet these dynamic Muslims who have taken ownership of their veil, or hijab in Arabic, which represents modest Islamic dress as they sew truth into garments. We represent the new veil. Just as none are recognized as honored representatives of God, these Muslims are creating clothing that serve as armor and protection, not dictated by culture, but by God consciousness. Throughout history, media has been used to control our perceptions through images. In the 1800s, not only did European women dress with modesty, so did the descendants of the enslaved, which were not shown in the media. A sense of dignity was gained from this modest dress, and it lent a hand in establishing African American women's humanity. For Muslims, the veil symbolizes piety and spiritual obedience to Allah, the one God. In the Quran, we are told by our Creator through our Prophet ﷺ, to make sure our garments cover our bodies so that we will be known as women to be respected and not abused. Both men and women are told to lower their gaze when dealing with the opposite gender who are not related to them. Women are further instructed on how to cover their physical adornments. This instruction is not intended as a form of oppression, but as a means of obtaining dignity. Miriam is combating the wave in the Western world to ban the Islamic veil. What would it mean to not be able to wear your hijab? Muslims are a reflection of Mary. Don't be afraid of us. Get to know us. Our natural self leans towards modesty. Modesty is not just a part of religion. It is a display of honor, dignity, and respect. Look at the royalty of the world. Queens dress modestly, and they are granted respect and honor in society. Every woman can have this same sense of self-empowerment and glory, not because she is royal, but by nature, as women, we are to be honored.
Yes, halal stitches. Hold on, who's that picking halal? Okay. So halal stitches, please see Zareen, talk to the sister. Any more questions that you have? Again, we are raising funds for this trailer. I mean, wouldn't y'all want to see this in theater? I sure would. We have a lot of Muslim directors, but a lot of them are men. And we need our female perspective. So on her website, she does have PayPal for donations, inshallah. Please feel free to spread the love. We need the support. So I watched this documentary and I'm always like, man, wouldn't that be really dope if we had halal clothing? Like, for real halal clothing, not just something that says halal clothing. I'm talking about something that's not in sweatshops, not in factories, is cared for, we know our workers. Wouldn't that kind of be dope if we had that? Oh, you know what? Purple Impressions, actually. Drukshan, please come to the stage.
Please just give us aid or work. And I started questioning this. It's like every year, same thing over and over again. Why can't these women sustain themselves? And most of them are, you know, their husbands are either abusive, drug addicts, they're single mothers. They just have a lot going on. So my sister and I decided to pool our savings, whatever we had from our work before, and start Purple Impression. It was a philanthropic movement just to bring the art of hand embroidery into modern fashion and promote that, and that's what we're doing right now. So we're paying these women fairly for their work, and we're working with them to educate their kids and making sure their well-being. A big part of Purple Impression is transparency. We tell you exactly who's making your clothes, the whole supply chain. We've put in about 2 years of work to make sure that our supply chain was very clean. Like, we are trying to find certified fair trade factories to work with. But what I want you to leave with is really to think about the conditions in which our clothes are made. We don't even, it's just, go and watch True Cost movie. I can't explain everything, but that really opens your eyes. And we give away our clothes to charity, bags and bags and bags. One of the things that Purple Impression is trying to do is for you guys to build a connection with your clothes. So, you know, we show you who's making your clothes. So there's Asma, who made this scarf, who hand embroidered it. It's 3 days of work. You can actually see her working on our website. It doesn't become that easy to toss this away, you know, because you've built a connection. You've seen the hands behind it. You've seen what kind of impact it's had on that person. So be mindful. You know, consumerism is hard. It's everywhere around us, but we can stand up and say, I'm okay with that one top. That's all I need. That's what I wear every day anyways. I don't need 10 articles of clothing. And they all go to landfills, by the way, in developing countries. Just because we can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. You know, it's literally, they're non-biodegradable. That means 3 generations down the line, you can still see the sweater you put in charity. So please be mindful of what you wear, where your clothes are coming from. There is a cost behind it. We don't think about it. Fashion industry does not want us to think about it. but it's there. It's there. Thanks.
Thank you, Drugshawn. Give it up for Drugshawn. So again, I mean, it's very powerful. It's easy to just go to the store and buy something, you know, but when you really, really think about like, who made this? Some of them conditions are really ill and it's not cool. So before I start the introduction for the next performer, I see you, girl. I see you, girl. I want to tell you real quick, we got pop-up shops in the back. Give it up for the pop-up shops. Much love, support. So I want to show you some things real quick from our pop-up shops. We have Nermeen's portrait here. Super dope. This is for sale. It's in the back. We also have Jibril, who hand paints all this as well. Super dope. He's got a whole bunch of stuff in the back, pins, portraits, all kind of things. And last but not least, hold on one second.
Soak in the bath, ran by the justice, ran by the system. Those who soak in the bath are the black people in America. We are soaking in this bath, withering away from the pain, the strife, the trauma, waiting for the towel to come in and coat us and dry us from this struggle. Sandra Bland was a queen who wore the crown of knowledge and sat on the throne of truth, and she reminded us that our actions should be represented by our knowledge and that our words should leave our lips gracefully yet powerfully. Sandra Bland acted, and she knew, and she spoke gracefully yet powerfully, and she shall always be remembered. So this next piece is called I'm Black. I think being a black woman is already, I already kind of resist a lot of things. I resist negative stereotypes that society perpetuates among black people. And so I wrote this piece in honor of my blackness. I'm black with black consciousness. I'm black with black issues. I'm black to the point where I grieve so hard I need tissues. I'm black with black struggles. I'm black with a black family that's missing out on their uncles because they locked up in the pen because they succumbed to the pressure that society fed them. I'm black with black thoughts. I'm black with black pride that creates the powerful energy that coats my stride. I'm black with black tears that fall to my feet, creating murky puddles of defeat. I'm black with black sense, I'm black with black power, and this is our time, this is our hour to rise above the injustice that makes us die a little inside, to rise above the oppression that tears us apart inside, because our brothers and sisters out here dying, mothers out here crying, asking why, who gives them the right to take our lives and tell us we deserve it and we need to get over it. I'm black and I don't deserve it. I'm black and I'm not getting over it. I'm black and I'm not gonna be mute. I'm black and I refuse to allow myself to be controlled by the white supremacist system. I'm black and I won't let ignorance be one of my symptoms. I'm black and I'm Muslim. So that means even if I was to erase my blackness, I'd still experience discrimination. That means even if I was to erase my blackness, I'd still be a target for hate. And it goes both ways. Even if I was to take off my hijab, I could still get shot down by the police. Even if I was to take off my hijab, I could be told that wearing my natural, God-given hair at the workplace is unprofessional. Well, you know it's unprofessional? White people making their racism so presentable. Well, I'm black unapologetically. I'm black and I'm proud. I'm black and I will speak up and I will be loud because it's my duty as a black Muslima to fight against oppression so one day the oppressed people will reach ascension. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim Maliki Yawmiddin Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome everyone, if you can turn the mic down. Welcome everyone to the Hijabi Chronicles Muslim Women in Hip Hop. Thank you so much everyone for coming out. I mean, it means the world to support this movement. Just a little bit about the Hijabi Chronicles before we get started. So my name is Aliyah Sharif. I'll be your host for tonight. I also am the founder of the Hijabi Chronicles. I started this sisterhood, should I say, in order to create just that, sisterhood and unity, and also to create a lane that's been missing in hip-hop, which is a lane for Muslim women in hip-hop. So there's no secret that hip-hop was said to be, Islam was said to be the unknown religion of hip-hop. So when you see the history of hip-hop, we have the 5 percenters, we have the NOI, they've all used, they all contributed to the hip-hop, to the language with the original teachings of Islam. So for instance, you have the name Allah that was dropped countless times since the beginning of hip-hop to now. The members of the Zulu Nation, shout out to my husband in the booth, can we give him a round of applause? He will be helping us with sound, and he's also our DJ for the night. But Zulu Nation is also one of the starters of hip hop, and a lot of their members are Muslim, and they refer to Islamic teachings. I actually met African Bambaataa myself, and when he gave me a card, it said like Islam means peace or something, and I was like, oh my God, like this is who they say is one of the creators of hip hop, like the originators, and his business card says Islam. So there's definitely a long history of Islam and hip hop. So now as Muslim women in hip hop, we're definitely like, there's also a lane for us though. You know what I'm saying? Can I get a yeah? There's also a lane. So like I've said before, we're knowledgeable, we have rhymes, we have wisdom, we have soul, we have heart, and we definitely have something to say. There's a lot going on right now in this world that we live in, and music right now we use as an expression of resistance, which is our form of fighting back any type of negative stereotypes that they put on Muslim women or such and such. But yes, Hijabi Chronicles Muslim Women in Hip Hop, and you know what I think it's time for? I think it's time for us to meet the sisters who we will be featuring tonight. And round of applause. All very powerful, talented sisters. So instead of me introducing each one by one, I'm going to ask each sister to step up, inshallah, introduce yourself, tell us a little bit. Who's first?
All right, Assalamu alaikum. I am Sakina Suleiman, the youngest of Amir Suleiman and Kamisha Fatima. And resistance for me through hip hop it's like showing that just because I wear a hijab, it's not like she has to stand by these rules and we stand by these rules. And we all love music.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. For those that don't know, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah means peace be upon you by the All-Merciful. So peace be upon all of you, love and light. I am Ahlam. I'm originally from the East Coast, Bridgeport, Connecticut, but I currently live in Oakland, California. I am really grateful and proud to be here. These lights are hella, mashallah. But so I am a writer and I do spoken word poetry. So inshallah, a little later in the night, y'all gonna hear a little something. All right, bet.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Asa Lioness, Sister Asa. You all can call me Sister Asa. I'm a writer and an MC, hip hop artist, and using music as a tool to inspire evolution within ourselves first, and then to our community, to reach our highest spiritual potential. You know, I think that's my way of resistance, is to follow the path of our dear Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and spread love.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Amira. I am a spoken word artist from the Bay Area, and I express resistance by showing that being a Muslim woman does not make me mute, that I have a voice that can be heard, and so I channel the emotions, the feelings, and the thoughts that I have into my writing so that I can enlighten minds and enlighten hearts. And I'm looking forward to sharing my work with you later tonight, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum, I'm Hijabi Coleman, and we're going to talk about injustice. It would be wrong for me not to share my writing, but I write poetry because I love beauty, and poetry is a very beautiful form of communication.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Talia, and I am a mother of 3 beautiful children. I use music as a way to show them that you can be a powerful and strong woman and still be modest. So yes.